Okay, hi, this is GP here, and along with me are Jijo and Nikunj, and there's your session. You can ask whatever questions you have, and we'll take them up. Jijo, Nikunj, anything you want to say before we start?
No, let's start.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a question in front of us. So let's look at this. Nikunj.
My mock test scores tend to fluctuate quite a bit. How should I move from the 50-60 range to score 75 plus? See, I think it's important in the next 15 odd days not to think of scores a little too much. Fluctuation is common. I think every second student will say scores are fluctuating. 99 percentile वाले का भी consistent नहीं होता है. So I think it's important here to just be at it. But one thing you need to keep in mind that जो 50 से 75 का हम लोग को jump चाहिए. So we need to look at, are we scoring around 30 plus in my best section? So typically speaking, if you are able to get 30-35 in your best section, then I think a score of 70 is very much on the cards. So there are two ways of looking at it. One is I'm getting 30, but I'm not getting more than 10 in each of the other two sections. Then I need to look at the second best section to pull this up. If I'm getting somewhat 15-20 in my best section, 10-15 in the other two, then I need to look up at my best section, practice a little more of section tests from that section, particularly previous year question papers can be taken as sectional tests. Or if your mocks are due earlier, some of your section tests CAD based can be taken. But you need to look at more time, might be at least 2 section tests of your strongest section to pull that strongest section 30 plus. That's one way of looking at it. If strongest section is already maximized, then look at the second best section, take section tests of that section to take it 20 plus. So typically a 75 should look at 30, 25, 15, 20. That kind of a breakup.
Jijo, anything you would want to add?
Okay, this is so firstly, this fluctuations doesn't make sense. So if let's say I'm targeting, so eventually you're looking at a certain percentile rank to get to the B school of your choice, right? So I think that 75 plus means that you're probably looking at something like 95th percentile rank to 97th percentile rank around the range. And of course, that score versus percentile depends on the test as well. Now, if I'm getting a score of 50, I'm not going to get to the school of my choice. If I get a score of 0, I'm not going to get to the school of my choice. So technically speaking, there is no difference between a score of 50 or 0. So me worrying about fluctuations when that fluctuation actually means nothing is not going to make any sense. So if I'm looking at a score that I need, then at least I have to give myself a chance to get the score that I need. So the first thing, of course, what I want to look at is how being a score once you sit after the test and when you do the analysis. What is your outcast score? If it was definitely more than 75, then you know that something in the test is not happening. You're putting all the effort in your preparation to learn how to solve questions, and the examination not able to implement it. What was the point in learning itself, right? So I would kind of relook at. I'm sure that what Niku just said, I need some session to get me more than 30 for sure, to get the score of 75. What I want to look at is CAT is after all a set of questions. I essentially have to decide based on what I see on the screen. There are 66 questions that is going to pop up on my screen. Obviously, if I choose those questions, I have to make the decision based on the individual questions. So at this point in time, if I want to look at a particular score because I want to get to B school, then I have to definitely look at achieving that. At least give me opportunity to achieve that particular score. So like Nikun said, so evaluate from where I'm going to pull up the scores and what is that I need to do to get that score. Okay, so it may not be doing additional bit of preparation, but it largely will be based on how we're going to look at the test. What is that I need to do in the individual questions during the test scenario to get the kind of score that I need. So that's what I would say, GP.
Yeah. Just to add to what you said, Jijo and Nikunj, to me, 50-60 marks frankly doesn't matter at all. What matters is what percentile does it convert to, because ultimately that is what is going to matter. effectively, which if it's an easy paper, I get a 50 marks, it's a very poor score. If it's a difficult paper, I get a 50 marks, it might be a very good score. So that is what I hope the student has is meaning, that my percentile is fluctuating rather than marks. That is what way I would look at this question. Secondly, if your percentile is fluctuating a lot or your marks are fluctuating, whichever you not want to look at it, you are behaving differently in different papers. That means in some papers you are behaving in the correct manner, which means you are following a process, which means you are reading the question carefully, you are going through the passage carefully, you are looking at the data set carefully, and based on your comprehension understanding, you are doing it immediately or leaving it, and not getting stuck with a question. If you know it, you solve it and move on. You are not wasting your time in rereading the passage or rereading the questions multiple times. So my suggestion to you would be, in addition to what Jijo and Nikunj have said, can you look at your behavior during the papers in which you have done well and contrast it with your behavior in the papers in which you have not done well? And you will find a difference in the way you did the paper, and that is what you should look at. While knowledge is important, and without knowledge, obviously you cannot do anything. But if you can combine your knowledge with your behavior understanding, your score in the exam will be close to your card score. Yeah.
There's a question from Anirudh. I think in the chat, you say that
Sure.
your LRDI score has dipped recently from 20 to 10, whereas you scored 35 to 40 in the other two sections. So, Anirudh, if you're scoring 35 to 40 in the other two sections, surely you are in that top bracket. So what we need to look at LRDI now. अगर पहले आपका 20-25 आ रहा था, which means you were capable to solve two cases. And now if it has dipped to one, which means definitely there has been lack of practice either from your end, and perhaps you have not given it adequate effort. So my suggestion here would be, go back to all the mocks you have taken. Might be the questions which you were not able to solve. You bookmark those cases. एक बार उनको वापस से देखो. And please solve the last 7 to 8 year CAT all slots LRDI section. I'm sure it's going to give you a lot of confidence, because if one section is so lopsided compared to the other two, the next 1 week has to be maddeningly after that DILR section. And the DILR is a very flow section. So once the flow comes, there's no way not going to perform on the 30th. So perhaps you have lost that touch and flow. So just get back to that. I'm sure with 35-40 in the other two, we are looking at ABC surely.
Jijo, there's another question. Similar. DILR is very unpredictable. How to tackle? You could combine the two questions if you want.
So answering the question, the first student, he wants to go to ABC. There's a C in it, right? And then knowing what we know about Calcutta, given their criteria, 99.8 plus percentile is what we need. And across these years, I think this is definitely more than 100 marks, 110, 115-ish. Maybe, I mean, in some of the tests, it may come down, but probably close to about 100. So which means if you're looking at about 35 each, that is about 70. I need a 35 in DLR as well, right? So me again worrying about dipping between 20 and 10, to me, both are fail. Right. So you're looking at saying that I'm dipping between 10 and 20, both are not going to give you the outcome that you need. So my take about DLR, and I think that this would be something contrary to what many people believe, is that when people think about actually selecting set, nobody's selecting set, everybody is rejecting sets. Right. I think what I have to do is selecting the order in which I'm going to attack these sets. So, but if at all you're doing some sort of selection, that sort of is number one. Second is, I'm not looking at doing one more set. I want to just look at one more question. Right. So, for example, if I'm looking at something like assuming that, so I'm assuming also that once a test is done, when you sit at home and look at all the DLR sets, you probably can solve maybe 3 to 4 sets. I have put in a lot of effort to create skill set to solve the sets of DLR, and on the paper, I've decided to reject that set. It is not making sense to me. So what you should do is, instead of, this is your the idea, instead of focusing on मुझे sets एक set करना है, मुझे question करना है. So it so happen that that you may be, let's assume that you want to pick up about 10 to 12 questions. It may be from 3 sets, maybe from 2 sets, maybe from 4 sets, maybe 5 sets. I just don't care. When I read a particular set, I have understood what the set needs. I'm going to go through the question. I'll get a sense in terms of how many marks you can pick up. It is not necessary that I should do all the 5 sets. If there's a couple of questions are painful, just skip it and move to the next sort of question from somewhere else. So the way in which you would move, for example, what may be happening in your case about 20 to 10 is that you basically would have decided I'm going to look at 2 sets, and then you in your mind you've ignored the other 3 completely, and you're fighting with these sort of 10 questions, and in the 10 question looking at about 30. Look at 20 to 10 score. If you actually look at it, it's just about 3 questions difference. You're not even 3 questions. It's probably about 2 questions. Every wrong question is going to pull your score by -4, no, from a +3 to a -1. So this fluctuation is not a huge fluctuation. I think that you have to reevaluate and relook at this, and I'm sure that it still can happen. So if, for example, to me, a score of 10 is as good as score of -20, because both are giving the same outcome. So I should not be worrying about what is the score that I'm getting, but I have to take some of the section tests in the next 4 to 5 days in such a manner that whatever is a question that I could have solved in this particular DLR set, I should have solved, at least the vast majority of them, and not sort of worry. You can still create an order of attack in terms of the in terms of this, but in your mind you're actually not rejecting anything. I don't know whether we remember the CAT 2024 slot number 3 sets of air conditioning, such a painful set. But they still had one question which was very straightforward. How many times the AC was switched off? If you just would have read the set, looked at the question, you probably would have got that 3 marks and moved on. So focusing on, instead of one more set, focusing on one more question, and picking up as many questions as you can is something that will do. And I'm sure that if you focus on that, then you're focusing on what does the question need? Is the option helping me? Okay, do I have to do the complete sort of set? I don't have to do the complete crack the complete set. So sort of that frame of reference. Again, coming back to the same thing I'm saying, CAT is a set of questions that you see on the screen. Make a decision on the question that you see on the screen. I'm not going to put in a lot of effort to get a -1. If it's not working, I'm just going to go to the next question, even if it's from a different set. That's what I would say, GP.
Yeah, and in fact, when people say DI is very unpredictable, this is the issue. Now, effectively, I would say DI is very predictable. Every set will have a couple of easy questions and couple of difficult questions. That number could vary, obviously, but even if it's a very difficult set, it has got 1 or 2 easy questions. And my job in this paper is to make sure I keep attempting those easy questions. Now, there are 2 ways of attempting DI. Start from set 1, go up to the last set, and keep doing the questions which come your way. The other way is, you, as Jijo said, decide the order or the sequence in which you want to attempt the sets. And there also you need to do the same thing. You don't need to look at completing the set as such. You need to say, okay, which are the easy questions in each of these sets? I'll keep attempting them and leaving the rest. Okay? So as long as you are clear about the fact that completing a set does not give you any benefit, you should be fine. Okay? And you should be willing to move on to the next data set or to the next question. However, when it comes to DILR, again, I would say one of the things that you need to do is make sure you have done all data sets from CAT 17 to 24. And as Nikunj also said, all the data sets of your mocks, you should have done them at least once. And the ones which are a little confusing for you, do them maybe a couple of times more. And when you're doing these sets, don't again ask yourself, okay, I have to complete the set. Even when you're practicing, you have to tell yourself, great, if I have time, these are the sets I will, if I don't have time, these are the questions I should be leaving. So when you're practicing also, you're going to the sets also, you should be conscious of the fact that you have to train your mind to leave questions and not become a prisoner of the fact that मैंने डेटा सेट पे ऑलरेडी 7 मिनट लगा दिए तो 7-8 मिनट और लगा के 2 सवाल करने नहीं. That is the time when you have to say, let me leave that question and move on. Okay, there's an interesting question. इसका मेरे पास कोई आंसर नहीं है. Any one of you?
Slot 2 easy होता है ये hard. मतलब first of all ना, so if the paper is hard or easy across slot, the CAT will take care of that problem.
Yeah.
By way of scaling. Right. If it turn out to be easy, or it's going to be scaled up. If it turn out to be difficult and others, it's going to be scaled down. Easy turn out, whatever. Easier scale down, difficult scale up. So you are worrying about a problem that CAT will anyway take care of. At the end of the day, please do understand, it doesn't matter that 3 slot exist. For you, there is only one cat. And then you're competing with, and all the people in your slot is looking at the same set of questions. And at the end of the day, with those kind of people, you should do your very best. And then you have to fare better than that. What happens in slot 1 and slot 3, if you're in slot number 2, whether easy or hard, that's, I think something that you should not even bother. So,
yeah. So let's look at the question on the screen which we have with us. In some mocks, difficulty level varies across section. Sometimes a section feels much harder or easier. When it's tough for everyone, but well-prepared candidates still. How can I improve my attempt rate in such? Okay. Yeah, what would you say, Nikunj? बहुत लंबा सवाल है.
ये सवाल करने के लिए ना मॉक में, कैट में. So, see, well-prepared candidates. How do you define a well-prepared candidate? Well-prepared candidate doesn't mean that conceptually only the guy is good. Well-prepared means temperamentally also that person is taking a tough paper on his chest. So you don't have to panic in a tough paper. Tough paper means lower attempts will see you through. So the moment the paper looks tough or a particular section looks tough, there are 2 things which should immediately cross your mind. Number 1, I need to be slower in this section to ensure my attempts are high, as in my accuracy is high. Second, there will be other 2 sections where scoring options will exist. So if you historically see CAT, never all the 3 sections become tough. It's only one section which always becomes a little more challenging. But you will have to have the confidence that the other 2 will give me enough scoring choices. Other thing is, sectional cutoff ke liye, I don't think you need to worry. Because you're going to give 40 minutes to every section any which ways. Sectional cutoffs ka worry tab hota hai when I need to decide how much time I need to devote to each section. So if you're giving in 40 minutes to each section any which ways, I think don't think too much about sectional cutoffs. Yes, whichever is your weakest link amongst the 3, there of course your selection of questions has to be the key. If you're selecting the right questions, there is no way you cannot meet a sectional cutoff, because sectional cutoffs are generally pretty much on the lower side. So even if you are able to get a score of, let's say, a 15 or an 18, let's say 6, 7 right questions in either maths or LRDI, you are well within the sectional cutoff range. So I think sectional cutoff that way should not be too worrying in this case. Tough, don't worry. Tough only makes your job easier. CAT 23 was one of the toughest papers we had seen in the recent past. But as kuch nahi hua, that undeserving candidates made it and deserving candidates did make it. Ultimately, who were good made it. So that will remain. The story will remain the same.
Actually, I have always maintained, Nikunj, कि यार मुश्किल पेपर आसान होता है. Because in a difficult paper, आधे लोग तो वैसे ही पैनिक कर जाते हैं that I can't solve anything, and then they start doing all kind of questions that come their way and collect a lot of negatives. And secondly, in a difficult paper, you don't need to move fast. All you need to do is keep doing the questions which are you can solve, even if they take a little more time. So less attempts required. You can work at your pace, and your competition will panic. तो मेरे हिसाब से मुश्किल पेपर आना चाहिए. बहुत आसान होता है मुश्किल पेपर में अच्छा स्कोर लाना, परसेंटाइल. But many students don't agree with this, but that's okay.
For there is let me define what a well-prepared candidate, as I understand, is. Okay, and why do they end up doing very good even in tough papers? A well-prepared candidate are those who don't have any feelings of aversion towards topics or things. So they will look at, let's say in the maths, look at the 22 question, start with the first question. If they can do it, they'll do it. If they can't do it, they cannot do it. But there are many who are basically having arithmetic love affair people. Right. So if the paper is easy, you're going to pick up those 8 arithmetic questions. 4 mil gaya, 5 mil gaya, kuch ho gaya. If it's going to be, and I don't know where the easy question in maths is going to be. It may be in modern maths. It may be in geometry, the topic that you teached. So how much about the paper? The difficult is how difficult it's going to be. I mean, I think. So another thing that you have to understand is it doesn't matter. Every paper is different. What matters is one paper that you're going to get on the day of the CAT, right? And that each paper is independent events. But what is common is this paper is going to have a set of questions that you see on the screen. I should be open to look at all the questions, evaluate the question, and make sensible decision on each of these questions. A well-prepared candidate is able to navigate the paper and look at all these questions, evaluate, and get a better score. Now, you are also well-prepared, right? But while you're well prepared, when you go to the paper, when you, like GP said, if the paper tends to be tough, you suddenly start feeling as though, oh my goodness, nothing's going to happen to me. So those kind of things you should worry. You should not worry. If it's a question in front of you is tough for you, it's likely going to be tough for everyone. And at the end of the day, it is not getting a particular score; is beating the rest of the guys who taking the test. So you are having a worry, which is I would say is something that you should ignore.
Yeah. Okay, there's this question from Gaurav. I don't know. Gaurav, mocks from 19 to 24. I presume you're talking about CAT papers from 19 to 24. Yes, you have done them great, but please do the 17 to 18 papers as well. Okay, don't ignore them. Jijo, this question is for you. Verbal का इसलिए तुमको दे दिया मैंने.
Sir, I'm scoring in 40s overall, strictly in 40s. I used to score 30 plus in VRC, but my accuracy has completely fallen off the wagon. Now that other section improved a little, I don't know how to improve. Oh, okay, I mean, so it's saying I'm scoring in the 40s overall. I'm not getting.
His score is in 40s. Earlier, he was getting 30 plus in verbal itself. Now, possibly his score in verbal has also fallen significantly because of negatives. Accuracy has gone off completely. So I guess it's a verbal issue which he's talking about.
All right, okay. So I have to venture a guess in terms of what is happening, right? So this is, since there are many of the verbal questions that is going to come, let me give the basic framework in terms of scoring in verbal, right? So there are two components in verbal. One is reading comprehension, and one is those 8 verbal ability questions. Each reading comprehension passage has got 4 questions, which means the maximum I can get from one RC passage is 12 marks. If I get one wrong, it is going to go to 8 marks. 2 wrongs, 4 mark, 3 wrong, 0, 4 mark, 4 wrong, -4. So maintaining an 8 mark average in reading comprehension is amazing. So if you are someone who is looking at 2 RC passages, then on a good day, a great score is 16. So if you want to go anywhere close to the score of 30s, you need your VA to pull roughly about 12 marks. It's about net 5 questions. So that gets you about 28. Those of you are looking at 3 RC passage and 8 VA questions, on a good day, 3 RC passage is going to get you 8 3s at 24 marks. If you want to get to 36 marks, you need your VA to pull to about 12 marks. When I look at your those who are attempting 4 RCs, on a good day, that is 32 marks. 8 the 8 4s are 32 plus VA 12 marks, that is 44. So 28, 36, 44. In all the three, what is common is getting 12 marks from VA. I'm guessing that most of us have basically treated verbal ability question as something that is bonus. RC karunga, time milega to VA. There are 8 VA questions worth 24 marks. And I have not given any respect to this 24 marks. And then what is therefore happening? It's like I have a cricket team. There are 6 batters. 4 pe mera bharosa hai nahi. Okay. So I have no, and then what therefore happens is I need to get the mark from reading comprehension. And 3 things happens with every reading comprehension question. One is I'm very certain answer choice is 3. It might be wrong eventually, but while taking the test, I'm very confident it is 3. Number 2 is I feel the 3 is the answer. I can't explain why it is 3, but I feel it's 3, which is also fine. The third is I'm confused between 2 options. But because you want mark from reading comprehension, you spend extra time on that particular question to get -1 mark. And if you spend 4 questions like this, 8 minutes on -4 marks, a question that is confusing, that is 20% of the time you're spending to get -4. What you should do, couple of things, is that if you're used to that, one is that give respect to VA. And when it comes to VA, I don't know which question is going to be easy, which question is going to be difficult. Don't have any sort of attitude that paragraph summary mere ko aata hai. No. I'm going to look at those 8 VA questions and I'm going to make a decision based on what I see on the screen. And in this, whatever days that you have, try and get about 12 marks, 15 marks from VA. Do your very best to do this. Once that happens, you're putting less pressure on RC. What do you have to do with reading comprehension? Read the passage at the pace of a comprehension. Go to the questions. You should not be sitting and fighting to get a -1 mark. If the question confuses you, वो confusion निकलने वाले नहीं है. Just move to the next one. So if you want to get 30 marks, I have to just look at 10 questions with 100% accuracy. I might be looking at 18 questions to 20 questions in the paper. I'm looking at enough questions. I don't need all the questions. So the couple of things to you is to give respect to VA questions, and B, when you see a question on the screen, a question that you reasonably certain, mark those. And if you're really confused, you leave them. You could come back to those questions later. That's what I would sort of recommend, and ignore sort of what happened in those previous tests. Just focus on that as an approach, and you to get the score that you rate. That's what I would say, GP.
Yeah, just one small thing, something which I alluded to earlier also. If your scores in quant have verbal have suddenly drastically dipped, you have changed the way you are taking the paper. Earlier you were following a particular process and possibly trying to improve your scores. You have changed the way. You have probably started reading faster. You have probably started guessing more. Maybe you have done something which is different from the other. Just evaluate that and go back to your earlier mode of taking the paper. Most probably you'll be back to where you were earlier. Okay. Nikunj, question for you on the screen about quant.
Quant, 75% of quant. See, the problem is that most of the students spend a lot of time doing quants. See, we have to understand our potential. Quant is the only thing in CAT which has a past. The other two don't have that much of a past, more of practice driven. So I think now quant in this 15 days can't change a lot. So perhaps you need to identify those 4, 5, 6 chapters. Despite your best effort, you've been trying for such a long time, but scores haven't gone up. So अगर आप 0 ला रहे हो, इसका ये मतलब है clearly कि आप 2 राइट कर रहे हो, 6 रॉन्ग कर रहे हो. So that's the only way generally you would get 0. So इसमें अपने को देखना है कि why that 6 wrong. Eliminate the wrongs from your entire attempt. If you are able to attempt only 4 questions out of 22, only attempt 4. Get 4 correct. So immediately I jump from 0 to 12. See, you have to understand that a single digit score or a low single digit in maths is only possible if you are getting too many errors. The problem is our ego here. If I spend 75% time in maths, I don't want to attempt less than 10 questions. मेरे को लगता है कि मेरा एफर्ट काम नहीं आ रहा है. But वो 10 में अगर आपका 7-8 wrong होगा, then of course you're not going anywhere. So I think selection of questions is one. 2 is please do not get into uncomfortable territory in the box. The moment you see a question on the screen, not comfortable, leave it. Mark it for review. Don't waste time solving it. At the end of the 22nd question, even if 4 or 5 questions were my Aukat questions, my R1 questions, I will just stick to them. And that will give me 12 to 15 marks. I don't need more than that. So you can't jump from 0 to 12, 15 for you at this level will be a very good score in quant. The other thing I would like to add is select those 6, 7, 8 topics where you have been reasonably more comfortable. You have had enough practice. तो बहुत ज़्यादा practice की ज़रूरत नहीं है आपको. But कभी-कभी overdoing it also doesn't help. So quickly एक बार basic revision एक बार कर लो. But try a few section tests of quant with a very simple approach. I will only mark an answer if I am 100% sure. Even if it takes me 5 minutes to get it right, I will spend that 5 minutes. Don't think of shortcuts. See, shortcut क्या होता है? Reflex. On the spot याद आ गया तो कर दिया, नहीं आया तो नहीं किया. You can't think of a shortcut in a paper. And usually shortcut comes with competence. So ऐसा नहीं है, if your quant is not very great, you would have invented too many shortcuts. So please do not go by any of the shortcut stuff here. Just solve those 4, 5 questions which you're sure of attempting. Scores will look brighter than this.
And in fact, just to add to what Tikunja said, if you look at the last, let's say 5, 7, 8 years of papers, 17 onwards they are available. If you look at all those papers, every paper you will find there are 6 to 8 questions which are just formula driven or process driven. Okay, कि replacement formula है उसको लगाओ and you'll get the answer. That it is x square plus y square is given and x square or rather x square minus y square is given and you are asked to do something. उसका अगला step हमेशा होता है x plus y into x minus y equal to so and so. So they are always in any CAT paper. If you look at the last 8-10 years, you find always there are 6 to 8 questions which are such formula driven. अगर वो formula driven, process driven question, if you have done half of them also, you will end up with a reasonable score. Okay. Okay, there's a question out here. जीजो यार ये वर्बल का है, अगेन आई एम पासिंग इट ऑन टू यू, बट मेरे को मालूम नहीं क्या जवाब देना है इसका.
I score very good in moderate to ECVRC, but my score
हाँ,
crash once moderate to tough.
हाँ. When the level of difficulty goes up, I go down.
So the reason why you go down is because you're fighting with those questions, na,
Yeah.
Miraj. Okay, so Dick, see this. You keep the VRC section as a. I think in fact the entire CAT is a simple paper, right? You are making decisions. I'm probably repeating the third time. You are making individual decision on the question that you see on the screen. If it's a tough, moderate tough paper, what is happening? Is I read the passage, maybe I would have understood the passage. I go to this question, I'm sitting and saying, I don't know whether 3 is right or 4 is right, both looks the same. At that point in time, because of whatever is the reason, you decide on sitting and fighting with the particular question and spending sort of extra time in that question and leaving out some question that is easy. So your job is ignoring whether paper is moderate, paper is easy. That is not in your control. What is in your control is reading the passage at your pace of comprehension, so that you get a good chance in terms of getting the questions correct. Go into the question, reading the question properly, because you don't want to look at validate and then think it is invalidate. Okay, reading the question really properly, looking at each of the 4 answer choices, chunking into small part, finding if there is any problem. If you're able to pick enough problems and put a bet on one particular answer choice, great. If you're confused at that point in time, you need to have a sense in terms of how do I evaluate this confusion. If it's not possible for you, just click the button next and move to the next question. The good news is, if for whatever is the reason your slot, the paper became very tough, then chances are the free may you'll get some 6 marks thanks to scaling up. So,
Yes.
what you should do is ignore. And I am saying, Miraj, is that in all of this, my feeling is that you have not treated the VA 8 questions with respect. उसमें से 15 निकालते हैं ना अभी 10 दिन में. Okay, so it is impossible for someone to create that every single question is tough. But I think what I'll tell you, Raj, is you don't have to worry about anything. You just say that you keep making decision based on the question that you see on the screen. Do your very best and ignore everything else. I cannot be thinking about multiple things when I look at a question on the screen. My life here and now is that question that I see on the screen. How many I'll attempt, what score I will get, whether there will be scale up or scale down, can I do other questions? No. What you see on the screen, deal with them and sensibly and just move on. That's what I believe is going to get your score. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then just to complete what just to add to what Jijo said, Miraj, मेरा भी यही है कि if you are getting a poor score in these slightly difficult papers, because you are living in nostalgia. The last paper I did so many questions, here also I have to do so many. Okay, but as Jijo said, if you look at the question and you don't know the answer, you are confused, you are split between choices, maybe you have to leave that question and move on. Okay. Nikunj, Sahil ka this question from Sahil.
Yeah,
Okay. He lost someone from the family last month and could not prepare. What would you suggest that he does in the time available to him now?
Sorry for your loss, Sahil. Just ignore what's happened now. Just regroup, restart. So what I would suggest in the remaining 16, 17, 18 days, whatever we have, take at least 6 mocks. So mock every day will not help. Take 1 mock every 3 days. With 6 mocks you're going to take, I think better is whatever remaining mocks, unko le lo. Couple of last mocks which you have just missed. Just last 2-3 हुए उनको ले लो. Take these 6 mocks, analyze them well after you've taken the mock. See where you're making mistakes, what you're doing wrong. That's number 1. Number 2, quickly revise all your maths funda of the topics where you're good at. You have your class notes, you have funda books, you have whatever, your formula sheet. Or spend 3-4 days quickly running through that basic, because that will be very important. You might have lost that touch. Second, daily dose tests I think will be great help here. So here, if you are solving the daily dose tests every day, it will help you come back to that flow, that momentum in each of the 3 sections. See, broadly speaking, whatever you are good at and what you are not so good at, that will remain almost same now, but just that touch has to be regained. So I think take the daily dose test every day, take 1 mock every 3 days, and every day take 3 sectional tests. So not as a mock might be, because that will become too heavy. So take 3 sectional tests, might be of previous year CATs, or you can take some earlier mocks as sectional tests with breathers, not necessarily for you to take as a mock. So that flow has to come back. Maths basics needs to be revisited, and I think that should give you. And don't get too panicky, and don't think that why this happened to you. Don't even think of next year. साहिल 17-18 डेज में बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. आप 6 घंटा रोज पढ़ते हो, आप 100 घंटे हैं अभी. 100 hours, lot of things can happen. So let's not look back. Let's look forward positively. I'm sure it will work your way.
Gijo, anything you want to add?
So firstly, sorry for your loss, but Nikunj had given you a specific in terms of what is that you can do. This is what I'll tell you. Is that VRC DLR is largely about skills, right? VRC, at least you know that it has got nothing to do with your knowledge. It's an open book exam. Maths may be about the knowing all those formulas or concepts that you've studied. But you have to remember one thing: those things that you prepared this year before the tragedy, those are not going away. If let's say if you have a skill of singing, थोड़ी ना एक महीने के बाद I forgot how to sing. So what you will have to do is, so here and now. So we'll worry about next year CAT after the CAT. So you've got those how much of a day that you have is irrelevant. What you have is start every single day. Like Nikunj said, revise your maths concept. Take a number of sectional tests sort of to get back to the group. Give your very best this year. And then figure out what's going to happen the next. But there is no point not doing, not doing. Why I'm saying that you should of course give it a full shot this year and know very well that whatever you have learned, that is not going to go away. It might take 1 or 2 days to kind of get back to the group. It's fine. Even if it takes 10 days to get back to the group, CAT is on the bottom, 15th day, no, so it's okay. So even if it takes next on the day of the CAT you got back to the group, that is good enough for us. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to Miraj again. And Miraj, तुम्हारा problem है. Okay. And now he's saying that the DILR is suddenly going to hell. I used to manage. Okay. Used to get 20s. Now it's very low. Miraj, I think the issue is you are panicking unnecessarily. And as you're coming to the closer to the paper, तुमने जो है English and DILR, either you have started attempting everything or you are moving from question to question, not doing anything. So just stay calm. Unnecessary panic शायद create किया हुआ है, and that is what is impacting both your sections. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised अगर Quant में भी यही हाल हो रहा है, because the what is happening in the two is likely to be repeated in the third one also. Okay.
Next question.
Sorry, you want to respond to that? Yeah.
I will, but I think we can go to the next PPT में एक doubt था. MDI पे था ना? I think there was a question on MDI which we saw.
There was a question on MDI. Students was asking.
MDI WorkX के बिना भी लेते हैं. I think this. So just go by your CAT scores. 93, 94 typically would be their cutoffs. So if you're looking at that range, MDI will close a couple of days before CAT. So definitely you should be looking at MDI application. Even without WorkX, Abhishek, doesn't matter.
If you think you're likely to be around 95 percentile, you should definitely apply. Okay. So अपने score के base पे, as Nikunj said, nothing to do with your let's say profile as such. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Okay, let me take one from the slide. Okay, this we had taken up. How can I stay calm, motivated, and focused with multiple thoughts running in my mind and 4 major non-CATs approaching, each with a slightly different pattern? क्या कर रहे हैं यार कुछ?
See, इसमें I understand NMAT, SNAP, देखिए दोनों एक लेवल का है, CAT, ZAT अलग लेवल का है. ZAT के लिए अभी there is no need for you to even put it in your mind. Just forget ZAT for the time being. NMAT, SNAP, all the mocks which you need to take as practice needs to be taken latest till 20th or 21st. Last 10 days before CAT, I think you should only concentrate on the CAT paper and the CAT box. Do not let your mind run away here and there towards NMAT and SNAP. So let's take it one at a time. I'm assuming that your NMAT and SNAP attempts are after CAT. So firstly, do attempt a couple of SNAP NMAT mocks in the next week or so, because they are more of speed tests. Grammar, vocabulary, critical reasoning becomes suddenly a little more important there as compared to what CAT looked like. So I'm sure you're solving those questions. Reasoning, we have given you a non-CAT reasoning book, which is excellent practice ground for the non-CAT exam. So do spend some time over all this in the next week or 10 days. 21st onwards, switch off the non-CAT and just look at CAT. And the way you was practicing the mocks, the previous year CATs, the daily dose, just stick to that. Let the NMAT and the SNAP go away completely. As far as staying calm, well, that is of course the requirement. I mean, you really need to be focused and calm during the exam and not panicking too much. You can't be thinking of SNAP and NMAT while taking CAT. Okay, but don't underestimate the importance of the non-CAT exams, because there'll be a lot of B schools under NMAT and SNAP also, which need your attention. And that एकदम अभी ध्यान मत दो. Decision making को अपने बाद में देख सकते हैं. The other two sections of that are nothing very different and a very slow paced exam that is. So you really don't need to worry too much about that as of now. Okay, so don't let your mind occupy too many things parallelly. Next week or so, look at SNAP, NMAT, mock, sectional test, LR, book, whatever. Last 10 days before CAT, no NMAT, no SNAP. Only CAT, stay calm. The moment CAT gets over 30th, again, 1st December, switch on NMAT and SNAP. Of course, you need to do that switch on, that's required.
And also remember that whatever you're doing for CAT will be useful in SNAP and NMAT in any case. It's not that when you're taking CAT, SNAP is going to be completely different. Yeah, there are minor differences. And as Nikun said, CAT khatam hua, agla assuming the next paper is NMAT, oh, 5 दिन, 7 दिन, 10 दिन, just focus on NMAT. NMAT khatam hua, the rest of the time just focus on SNAP. Okay. Now, there's another question, Jijo, I'm just picking up another verbal. Nikunj, तुम्हें मैं क्वांट के लिए quantify कर दिया था, but why don't you take up this question?
Can't understand. Should I do 3 RCs, rest BA or all the RCs? See, I think Jijo talked about this initially also. It's about how you are looking at the question. So I should appear or approach the section with this fixed mindset. I will appear all 4 RCs and I will let the VA go down because VA don't do traditionally very well, or the other way around. Take the question on its merit. If RC, I read one passage, doesn't feel very comfortable, and the questions I'm stuck across a couple of options, better to slip it. Don't waste time there. Because in English, over-reading sometimes only leads to a -1. And as Jijo pointed out, that extra minute or two, if I could have snatched or saved and done an extra summary or a paragraph completion or a para-jumble, I definitely could have scored a little more in VA. So don't get divided कि मुझे कितना RC करना है, मुझे कितना VA करना है. This, I think, is completely driven by the paper. And if on the day RC में flow आ रहा है and you being able to do all 4 RCs, well, that could be the day for you. Might be you get a little less time for VA, doesn't matter. But don't be fixated कि मुझे सारा RC करना है. So and generally one RC would, and ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि 2 RC में 2 क्वेश्चन आप नहीं कर पाए. So don't waste time in over reading the passage once and for all for those 2 questions. Should I go through all the questions in 2, 3? No, I don't think so. I think it's better to just go serially as the questions come on the screen. It's not the LRDI section where you need to skim and decide which was to do, which was not to do. Jijo, you could add something to that.
See, in both the scenarios, we are doing 3 RCs. Now, the question is whether I should do the 4th RC or the VA question. The 4th RC is worth 12 marks maximum. The VA question is worth 24 marks. तुम decide कर लो कहाँ से निकालना है. तो अगर तुम 4 RC किए हैं, so, and you are able to maintain about accuracy of 8 marks, which is fantastic. Some marks you are getting actually 12. And then you are going to touch 32. And anything above 32 is amazing. But 32 is awesome. That's where it's going to stop. So if you are someone who's looking at scores above 45, 48, Ovala score, then you need all the 24 questions. But given the fact that probably you're looking at scores in your 30s, mid 30s, then what I would do is, first of all, not start with the idea that I'm going to look at this many questions or so. I will read the passage, look at the question, pick up whatever I can do, keep moving forward. Definitely do a VA. I want to pick up. Imagine you're picking up 20 marks from VA. What if, let's say, you got 20 marks from VA? All that is not going to happen from one reading comprehension passage. Do the VA. So 3 RCs, then the VA, and if you have still some time left, you can look at the 4th RCs. But given that you are giving me these two choice, whether I should do 3 RCs and VA, first of all, the rest VA, I don't understand what is rest VA. The rest VA means a bonus. For VA, I'm looking at VA like a bonus. Mila to nahi mila. Yeah, it's 24 marks. Okay. Why the hell have we converted VRC into RC? The only thing that we worry RC. For my score goes down, my solution is to improve RC. I have told myself paragraph summary hota nahi hai. Paragraph summary hota nahi hai. VA is all bonus. The rest VA is the first problem. That term is only the first problem. There are 8 questions. And that's what I would say. So you are able to do 3 RCs, great. And then I think that VA is what can actually get you more than 12 marks.
Yeah. इसमें खाली मेरा ना, I have a difference of opinion with Dr. Jayesh, or rather, let me say, I am not happy with the fact that should I do 3 RCs? No, you have to do all 4 RCs, yeah. But you have to leave question within each RC, because the moment you say I have to do 2 RCs or 3 RCs, you are putting that much more pressure on yourself to attempt each and every question in the RC and to get it right. But when I know I can afford to, but when I start leaving questions, I have sufficient time to do the 4th RC also. I'll end up doing the easy question on the 4th RC also. So my job, the way I look at this paper is, I am not going to do every difficult question. My job is to do easy questions from each of the passage. So I would, so between 12 questions of RC in 3 passages, can I get 10 right? No, very, very difficult. But from 16 questions of RC, can I get 10 right? Very, very high chance. So my suggestion there should be, I'm not starting with the point that you have to do 3 RCs. I'm saying I'm starting with the point you should do all 4 RCs, but maybe do only 8 to 10 questions out of those RCs. Okay? And yes, verbal to karna hi hai. In fact, when I take CAT or when I take the verbal section, I typically start with VRs, with the verbal part, and then I go to the RCs, because to me, para summary is nothing but a chotu RC. It's a 1 paragraph RC. It is RC. Or statement again is similar. Okay? The only place where I struggle is para jumbles, but ठीक है, उसका जो होगा देखेंगे. But at least the other 6 I know I can handle them, and out of the remaining 6, even if I can get 3 questions right, I think that's a good score to have.
Typically, VA doesn't take more than the time of 1 RC. तो ये अपने को लगता है, मुझे लगता है 4 RC करना और 7 VA करना is almost similar. So we should not forget that also.
Jijo, Nikon, do you have morning slot? Any one of you?
I have a place which is 60 kilometers from my house.
Good. Acha. I'm very lucky. For the last 5-6 years, I have not got morning slot. I'm very, very happy.
I am absolutely thrilled with the morning because I wake up at 4:35 a.m.
No, I like morning.
The worst slot is a stupid afternoon slot. I don't know when to have lunch in that bloody slot. So Manav is saying,
Jijo, I don't take lunch, so I love that slot. Because I don't have to have lunch, so it's fine with me.
First of all, I think that how to make ourselves calm for the morning slot given the noise in the test center. That I don't know what is this noise in the test center during morning slot. Right now I'm shivering while attempting the paper, which is unusual for me. All right, so there is 2 things. First of all, you are asking a question in terms of what is if a particular situation happens, what should I do? Probability says that there could be a lot of situations that could happen on that particular day. Probably the hundreds and thousands of situations that could happen on that particular CAT day. Probability of one happening is anyway very close to 0, so ignore this problem completely. So what I have to do simply is that I don't have to worry. Obviously, I would take the mock test, all the section tests at 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. from now on. I will probably sleep a little early. I will get my biological clock in track. It's like very simple. Now imagine that you have traveled to a different country. Abhi US mein hai. Thoda jet lag hoga 1 or 2 days, and then but everything will get back to normal. That's what I would say. But I don't know what does it mean. Noise in the test center. What is it?
That noise would be there in each of the three sections, three sorts. At the beginning, there's people coming in, there's some noise. At the end, people going out, there's noise. I don't think it's something to be worried about.
Why is it particular in the morning? I think all the three will be same.
Chalo, okay. Another one from verbal. Verbal seems to be the flavor of the session actually, because everyone seems to be worried about verbal. I used to do 3 RCs with good accuracy. Now started doing 4th RC. My accuracy dropped. Marks also slightly lower. VA game is bad. So what strategy should I follow at this time?
I think we've already answered most of it. So we could look at the next question.
वैसे कुछ strategy है नहीं. Okay, there is no strategy. The only thing is सामने जो question दिख रहा है screen में. Okay, whatever question that is screen, decide on the basis of it. You end up looking at 3 RC, end up looking at 4 RC, irrelevant. I have got 24 questions. I need X number of marks. This mark is going to come if I don't waste time on a question, fight for 2 minutes to get a -1 mark. That's what you should do. I think we already addressed.
Nikon, there are a couple of questions on DILR. Both you and Jijo could pick up. First question is this one. Length देख के select कर सकते हैं कि नहीं? And there's another question connected to this. Which sets to choose, like with information or less information? So, Nikonj, over to you.
Harsh, I think my take is always more information is always easier. So I always feel the more the information, the easier the table gets filled up. It might take me 3-4 extra minutes, but usually there are no multiple sets emerging from more information. So I think it's about how familiar you feel once you read the cases. So don't go by this concept that मुझे लंबा वाला करना है या लंबा वाला नहीं करना है. Once you are, yes, what I'm trying to say is that just because lengthy and very lot of conditions are there, I will not leave that case. On the other hand, if it's a short case, I will not jump to it, because shorter case usually leads to multiple tables and they are generally question specific conditions. You will not get a small case where you can make one table and all the 5 questions get answered. So I think longer cases should not be looked at with a pinch of salt. Look at the longer cases, but overall selection will depend on your familiarity once you read it. आपको पढ़ने में familiar नहीं लग रहा है, complicated लग रहा है, छोटा चाहे बड़ा, you need to leave it. You need not start that. But usually longer, more connects usually is on the I think solves much easier than the longer ones, the shorter ones. Sorry.
I just to add to what Nikunj said, as far as I am concerned, the length of the set or the anything else does not matter. The only thing which matters is after reading the data, have I understood it or not? If I have not understood it, whether it is short or long, how does it matter? मेरे को तो नहीं करना है, मेरे करने की औकात नहीं है वो. But if I have understood, then again the length does not matter. Okay? But however, if you have gone through my videos of DILR, in addition to understanding, I also look at the question and the choices to decide whether it is a doable set for me or not. Okay, so there are multiple things I would look at. And one item, if I have to pick out one item and only one item, I would say complexity of the set or my ability to understand the set. If I've understood, it's something I can take forward. If I have not understood, maybe I have to move on.
I don't know whether my take is anyway going to be useful in the next 20 days. But I think that the 2 questions has been framed by using the word choose. But actually in your mind, you want to reject. Both the question are telling me, मुझे क्या reject करूं? So fundamentally, I have a problem with this. That I am looking at an order of attack, not rejection. Even if I'm looking at the 4 sets. The second of it, this question about less information, more information. I don't know what that information is. Maybe the more information is talking about Raju and how Raju got married to Sita and full story, and then one data bit was said. The less information, I don't know. I want to look at how much of relevant information is going to help me crack the question that I see. So how does it matter information is less, information is more? How does it matter if data has got 3 tables or 4 tables? The only way to know whether I can solve a particular question is by reading the set and deciding what is that I need to do, looking at the questions and then making sense. Second of all, if there are 5 questions in the particular set, why do I care I have to do all the 5 questions? If there is one question I can pick up, I can pick up the one question. I think that in those, I remember this was a 2017 paper which has got crazy bit of Venn diagram questions where one talks about two things are in the ratio of 17:22, and the question is दूसरे वाला का कितना है. There is only option which is the multiple of 22. You got to pick the three questions and moved on. I think the key thing is about there is, if you go to DLR thinking that my strategy is to reject things, right, and what happens is that every single time you come back after the mock test, you'll always find one DLR set. So GP, while GP or Nikunj, every faculty member says that I'm selecting sets, they're genuinely selecting, and with the idea that if I have time, I'm going to look at the other sets, question from other sets. I can pick up sort of questions of the set. So my sense is these are sort of absolutely unnecessary question. This question doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I'm going to basically decide on what I see on the screen on my slot day, and then decide on to the merit of completely on that set, and not having the vague ideas about looks.
Okay, Jijo. Next question on Quant. Okay, 15 to 21. Yeah.
5 to 6 questions. I run out of time. You don't run out of time. Why are you blaming time?
Because he's also given the reason after that. Possibly because of long questions, picking up questions and not being able to solve. So he's running himself out of time.
So first of all, I can't blame time. Second of all, what is the wrong question? What is the definition? There's no question is wrong question. Every question is there to get you mark. I cannot look at a paper and say something is wrong or something is right. Only thing that I can know is that my behavior on the question that I see on the screen, that can be wrong or right. It is not question being wrong or time running out or question being right. What is that I'm doing? If let's say you're looking at 5 to 7 questions in 40 minutes, that's like 8 minutes. Five questions in 40 minutes, 8 minutes per question, na? Right? So you are obviously having ego fight with the questions. You probably would have thought that these are my favorite topics, and favorite topic means the favorite topic is relatively favorite. That's what favorite topic means. And then favorite topic means all questions the topic can come out easily. We have seen, for example, in 2024 slot number 3, I'm repeating 2024 slot number 3 is because that is a RT99 session, which is very frame. There is first question, one of the questions on let's say how many 3-digit numbers are there less than 500. I think some questions like that. It requires a sort of simple logic. Nobody attends that particular question. So what I would suggest is don't blame on the question. Don't blame on the time. Don't even blame yourself. But I think that you have to look at when you see a question on the screen. So make reasonable, sensible decision. After about 1.5 minutes, nahi nikal raha hai, chhodna. If you know that it's reaching a particular direction, if you spend a couple of minutes, you can do it. But I think that I also have to be absolutely open in terms of whatever. I keep on moving forward and pick up the question that you can solve. And then I think the second thing is to keep some question towards later, because I feel that I can do. That's the point is there's no wrong question, there's no right question. There is don't blame time. Just evaluate how you behave. Yeah.
Varai, one just thing to add. The problem with perhaps you are doing is you're trying to solve everything which comes to your screen. So as a result, you're being able to solve 5 to 7, and you've been trying the other 5, 7, and you cannot solve it. You're wasting 20 minutes. So your productive time out of 40 minutes in QA is not more than 15. So you would have perhaps wasted 20-25 minutes on questions which you ultimately could not solve. So there is where I think you'll have to come to it, that do not try to even start solving a question of QA if after reading you are not sure of doing it. And don't think कि मैं उसको 1 मिनट में कर सकता हूँ कि 3 मिनट में कर सकता हूँ. आपको आता है, आप कर दीजिए उसको, whatever time it takes. But if I'm not sure, I will try. Please take that out. I will try means round 2 or round 3. I will not do it in the first round. So at least that way, I'm able to skim through till the end of the paper. And my traditional experience has been, if your R1 has 8 questions, your net score in Q will be 24. You generally would not jump more than that. One extra question can come beyond that. So it all depends upon how many questions can you attack in round 1 at the end of, let's say, 30 minutes or around that time. So whatever it is, don't get stuck. Don't try solving things. आता है करिए, नहीं आता है छोड़ दीजिए. Either review or just skip.
कुछ होता है ना, वही प्रॉब्लम वही होती है. If you know, do it. If you don't know, leave it. As Nikunj said, don't try to do questions. कोशिश नहीं करनी है. That's what you need to remember. Okay. Shivku has joined us, and that means
So our first hour is done. I think that's what it is, na?
हाँ मैं भी बोलने वाला था, but it seems Shivku is alone, so probably we'll give Shivku some company. And Jijo, you could take this question from Learning Copilot. My average score is around 56 to 65, and in a couple of mocks around 70 to 75. Feeling low कि 100 कभी नहीं आया हुआ, never got 100. Your take on my probable percentile?
Shakes. My average mock score is. Achha, you're feeling low, so you have not got 100. Okay, so
Some clairvoyance needed, Jijo.
huh?
Clairvoyant.
What first of all, na, let's not worry about if anything. If let's say if your target is 100, okay, I don't want to worry about 56 mark, 65 mark, or minus 68 mark also. Everything is the same. If let's say मुझे 100 के ऊपर चाहिए. Now if 100 के ऊपर चाहिए, that is it's about for example if you're looking at 100 plus marks, 100 divided by 3 is, let's keep it very very simple, 33 at least on an average in every single section, which means you need to have 2 of the sections rocking really hard for you. I mean that you have to get to 2 sections close to about 40. And I'm sure that you would have prepared to reach there. And I'm sure that when you in your mind, if you want 100, so you're preparing for 100, you're putting a lot of effort for the 100. And I'm sure that after the test is done, when you sit there and you evaluate the particular question, the look at the outcut score, you know you can get more than 100. So the only way now to get 100 is not learning new things. I'll go back to what GP said in the beginning. तुम्हारा behavior क्या है बताओ? Okay, look at how are you behaving in this particular test. Are you behaving like someone who want to look at 100 score? Or are you random looking at this? You have got 68 questions in the CAD. I don't need all the 68 questions to get 100 score. I need probably about 34, 35, maybe even 40 questions to get 100 score. I don't know where this 40 question is going to come. The simple thing is I'll be absolutely open. I would no unnecessary strategies or anything. I'm going to make sense based on each of the questions that I see on the screen. Not waste time on questions that I know that I'm probably going to get -1 mark. I will choose a battle that I'm going to pick. I will choose to lose certain battles that I know is not worth taking. I'm going to keep it absolutely simple and sort of not worry about what may or may not happen, and give myself absolute chance to get there, because I believe that I have the skill set to do it. It's just about implementing that on the day of the test is what I would say.
Great. So Nikon, one last question before you exit from here, before all 3 of us exit the other. Quant syllabus not completed. Arithmetic algebra is done, but left out TSG and time and work in that too. How to proceed?
Gaurav, arithmetic algebra done means 80% CAT done. So that's good news. Time, speed, distance, I think it could be easily left out, because usually questions are long, and at this last moment, I don't think you should really try doing them also. Time and work, though, I have a different thought. I think time and work should be done, because every year, if you look at CAT, you get 2 questions at least from time and work, and they are very easily doable. So if possible, go back to your basics in time and work, and pura arithmetic kar liye ho, so I'm sure time and work should not pose that much of a challenge. But this much I will say, that number system and geometry, number system and permcom, which you have not touched, perhaps CAT ke liye utna critical nahi hai, but from a NMAT SNAP perspective, I think you do get questions from those 2 areas in those papers. So might be after the CAT is done, quickly need to run through some, and you get very simple questions on number system, very simple questions on permcom. So you need to look at a bit of basics in those 2 areas, but perhaps just after the CAT is over. As far as CAT is concerned, stick to arithmetic algebra. I am sure ज्योमेट्री, नंबर सिस्टम, मॉडर्न मैथ्स, अगर कुछ बेसिक्स किया हुआ है, सिंपल क्वेश्चन स्क्रीन में आता है, जरूर रीड करके छोड़िएगा. डोंट रीड इट जस्ट बिकॉज इट ज्योमेट्री, डोंट लीव इट जस्ट बिकॉज इट ज्योमेट्री. बट नाउ डोंट delve into anything new. Stick to your strengths till CAT. But the moment CAT is done, I think you need to look at modern maths and number system as far as non-CAT is concerned.
मेरा एक डिफरेंट ओपिनियन है कुंज भाई. ओके, स्लाइटली डिफरेंट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, सिलेबस नॉट कंप्लीटेड. कौन सा सिलेबस कब कंप्लीट होगा, आई डोंट नो. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, व्हाट दैट मींस. ओके, व्हाट डज कंप्लीटेड मीन? Okay, at what point of question will I say I have completed this? And then at this point in time, I've decided I'm going to not do TSD and time speed distance. And then you're saying that arithmetic is done. How is arithmetic is done when time speed distance is about proportions and time and work is about proportion? One direct proportionality, inverse proportionality, one is completely inverse proportionality. So what you know, do not know with respect to arithmetic is proportionality. How many concepts do we have in the CAT? If I look at all put together, there may be about 20, 25. Let's say I want to do 10 more chapters. Each chapter is going to take how many more hours? It's about 3 hours, 3 hours more. 3 hours per chapter. No, that's about 30 hours. I've got 10 days. I can put in 3 hours every single day, no, to learn new things. What's stopping me from doing it? I'm obviously assuming that whatever I've learned so far is good enough for the score that I need. So you have to pray to God. It means that on whatever is a topic that I've studied, may easy question come from that particular topic. If let's say a difficult question is going to come from that particular topic, it is gone. So what I would say is that what you're treading on a very sort of I would say dicey path. I could tell myself and say that look, whatever I've done is good enough. I'll get questions from there. I think what does algebra even completed even mean? I don't. If I take modulus as a chapter, I think I can spend a lifetime about thinking about what I can do with respect to modulus. So what I would definitely recommend in the particular cases is that we still have time. You can spend about 2 to 3 hours. At least do this. Pick up all the previous year's CAT questions from 2017, 2024. Know how to solve every single question. Maybe pick up from 1990 to 1998. At least the old those ones. Solve all the question. Learn at least how to solve these questions. At least. I think we should keep putting fight till the very end. I think I can still learn new things. And other thing is that all the things that you studied in maths is something that you studied in your school. It is like relearning those things. It's not something out of the blue at least. So that is what I would recommend the student.
See, I would say just make sure CAT 17 to 24. If you look at these papers, these are about 550 odd questions. Can you do all 550 odd questions once at least? And the ones which are a little confusing for you a couple of times more. What that will ensure is anything similar comes into the paper this year, you will be able to handle it comfortably. And just for your just to let you know, last year CAT 24 about 3 questions were repeated from CAT 23. Okay, so it is important, and there were quite a few questions with the same concept kept coming again and again. Okay, Jijo, before the 3 of us exit, because ARCS भी आ गया है, मेरे ख्याल से हम तीनों को निकल जाना चाहिए अब. The student from VRC thanking you. He couldn't do more than 2 RCs earlier, but now he's able to do a RC in about 7.5 minutes each. And he says Jijo's philosophy is working about the art of leaving. Okay, I think it's art of leaving for spelling mistake हो गया है. ठीक है.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, chalo, bye. Sadil, over to you. I'll add ARCS also to the stage. Okay. Hi, ARCS, long time.
Absolutely. Hi, can you hear me, GP?
Yes, I can hear you. What time ho gaya? But I think at this point of time, I'll exit and we'll catch up offline.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, ARCS. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, I can't hear you.
Not audible?
Shivku, you're audible. ARCS, you're audible. Sadil, I can hear you.
Okay, lovely.
Okay.
Hi, Shivku.
Great.
Hi, GP. Absolutely.
Okay.
I know it's been quite some time.
Sadil, you have the control of the slides, I presume. Sadil, can you hear me?
Hear him.
नहीं, सजील की आवाज मुझे भी नहीं आ रही है. शिवको, are you able to just check? Are you able to use the slides? या मैं करूँ उसको? Then I'll stay back for some time till Sadil comes in.
No, I'm able to take the slides forward and backward.
Okay, great. And you're also able to look at the questions. Yes, Sadil, you're audible now. Perfect. I'll exit then.
Thanks, GP. Lovely.
अच्छा एक
So hi.
इंटरेस्टिंग
Hi,
क्वेश्चन
ARCS.
से शुरू कर सकते हैं आर्क्स
Hi, Shivku.
सजील.
Yeah.
Hi. What do you think about this?
I have given 4 mocks till now. I'm planning to write 10 mocks in the next 12 days. It's not just an interesting question. I think a lot of people will ask this, frankly, Shivko. Now,
Yeah,
Atharva, while it is important that you give mocks, it's also important that you need to know where you are going right and where you are going wrong as far as writing a mock is concerned. Given that we have about 17, 16, 17 days, leave out the last 3 days, like you said, the real value for you would be when you take maybe 3 or maybe even 4 mocks over these next 12 days, making sure that every mock you write, you do a thorough analysis on 2 counts. Count A is the strategy that you give for each of these 3 sections, 40 minutes each. How do you start? Whether you start with RC, whether you start with verbal, whether you do a verbal little, 2 RCs, then again verbal. What kind of number of attempts that you're making. Similarly for DI, how many sets you're able to attempt. Similarly for quantitative ability, some kind of a strategy that you will have. So you will, when you write a mock and you finish a mock, when you analyze, look at that as a very, very significant part. Seeing that you thought of doing something in your mock, did you achieve that at the end of the day? The second part of it is, after having written the mock, there will be questions where you would not have attempted, or there will be questions where you attempted but got them wrong. Obvious things. When you got them wrong, did you get them wrong because you did not know the concept or because it was a silly mistake? That is one analysis that you make. And second, all those questions that you missed out, did you miss out because you did not see them, or your basic strategy was wrong? If you missed out because of your conceptual or a basic mistake that you made, the next 2 days after writing a mock, you need to work on that 1, 2, 3 topics depending on each of the sections, so that you learn from this, improve your ability. Let's say time, speed, and distance. You do more questions of time, speed, and distance in the next 2 days, so that when you write the second mock, let's say 3 days from now, after the first mock, there will be an improvement on 2 counts. One, the strategy, as well as 1 or 2 topics that you would have worked on. Otherwise, every time you're writing a mock, let's say 10 mocks you write, you will get whatever marks based on what is the current knowledge that you have. You will not be able to improve 1 jot over the next 10 days. That is my simple expectation. Write 4 mocks, analyze both how you are attempting it and tweak that so that you maximize your attempts and or utilization of 40 minutes. And between one mock and the mock, try to improve at least 2 topics in each of the sections so that your marks will improve. Shivku, I think you will have more ideas on this.
Yeah, Atharva, I think I more or less agree with what Aks said. So make sure that all the things that he mentioned is taken care of, analysis and all of that. Here you have written that you have also done all the PYQs. So my assumption is, having done the PYQs, topic wise, you have got a fairly good sense. But my belief is, I think doing 10 tests in 12 days is not going to help in any way unless you want to build a rhythm, right? तो रिदम के लिए 4-5 मार्क्स उससे ज्यादा मत करो. करना हो तो इसी मार्क्स को तुम break it into sectionals, right? Time your sections and do it. Maybe it will help you identify. Otherwise, I think it will probably not be a very good idea to do 10 out of 10 marks in 12 days. I mean, this is not definitely not something that any faculty, I mean, in the CL ecosystem will advise you.
Or frankly, anybody worth the salt, I would say, typically, because it's not going to help really.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need some help. You don't feel bad about it that you have done only 4. Think about it that what is it that you need to achieve? You said your aim is 95 percentile. That's absolutely brilliant. 95, 98 percentile also you can get it, provided you do something very smart. Now that you have done all the PYQs, strategy is important. The rhythm, like Shivku sir has said, is correct. You will get the rhythm, but rhythm alone is not good. make it alone. The rhythm, you can get it every third day you write the mock also. Don't worry about that.
So Sazil, should we take the questions in the slide and then go to the questions on the?
Yeah, I think that will be a good idea.
We should do that, but there's one person who's been putting questions since a long time. I've been just observing. So एक question ले लेते हैं. Unless it is already done. Sir, in RC, I don't know why, but mocks during mocks, I answer many questions wrong. After completion, after checking the questions, I am able to answer many of them correctly without checking the answers. मुझे इसको quickly answer करना है कि भाई तू सही जा रहा है. अगर if you are not able to solve it in the mock, but you are able to solve it outside the mock, that's the exact point of analysis for you. What are you thinking? So when you've solved it right, after the mock, can you go back and see what is the thought process you had in that mock and why could you not answer that at that time? उतना ही एनालिसिस कर ले, तेरा करेक्शन हो जाएगा. साथ में प्रैक्टिस चालू रख. I think analysis and practice is the only thing everyone has been saying, whether it is Quant, DILR or RC at this point of time.
Sazil, I have a point here.
Yeah.
See, what happens
Yeah.
specifically in RC, Sazil, is that when somebody is writing a mock, they are reading it only once or maybe just about very quickly. The concentration when you're reading a passage, and of course the question and the choices is not that high.
Right.
If you are very basically good in English, you will still be able to answer the questions faster, kind of things. But when you out of the mock, when you are reading the question or the passage again, the first thing that happens is your familiarity with the question, with the passage improves, or the topic improves, especially areas like philosophy or psychology or art, literature, those kind of areas. Because you know your basic English is good, but when you read it the second time after the mock, you are better off in understanding. And therefore, the 4 questions that you solve, you start getting them correct, even without checking the answers. The problem, therefore, is familiarity as far as I am concerned. So in a mock, especially those topics which you are not very, very comfortable with, maybe general topics, maybe economy topics, maybe management topics, maybe physics, chemistry, science topics, you are better off. Maybe you are an engineer. But if you're not good in a philosophy, psychology, art, literature, anthropology kind of such stuff, the only reason why you are not getting them perfectly right the first time and getting the second time is because of familiarity. So here is the only one simple advice I'll give you. Slow down on such kind of topics. Maybe, just maybe, reread the passage. I know it'll take 2.5 minutes extra. Reread the passage one more so that you get extra familiarity. You might be surprising yourself to get more correct answers.
Okay.
Right. So it comes down. Yeah. Shiv, go.
No, go on.
So it comes down to basically practice and analysis. So eventually you will hear us say, मेरे पहले भी मैंने देखा Jijo and GP and all of them were suggesting a similar thing. घूम फिर के वहीं पे आएगा. Bookmark कर लो कुछ चीजें. Bookmarks help. Going back to those questions also helps. Right. So these are just some generic answers from my end. Yeah. Let's go forward. Shivku, shall we go with the slides?
Let's pick up the questions on the slides. Yeah.
Yes.
Recently noticed a sudden drop in my VRC scores, and my overall scores have also become inconsistent. I would appreciate any guidance on how to deal with it. Skip 1 or 2 mocks. जब तुमको टेस्ट लेने का itch होता है, just leave it, right? I mean, I would suggest that just pick sectional test and do it, because it is pointless trying to outmaneuver downhill, right? Sometimes it's important to break that break, right? So it could just be your mindset. That's it. I mean, if you have consistently in the past done well, there's no reason why you cannot do well in the future. So sometimes this happens that I don't know whether it is a trending or whatever it is. I think sometimes scores go down and it kind of piles on. So just leave it. Just
actually,
take a break for 3 to 4 days of notice.
I want to just add on to the point you just said about कि तुमको अगर आता था, तुमने अगर पहले स्कोर किया है हायर, there's nothing in verbal or any of these things where you can forget. You can't forget what you were doing, right? So ऐसा तो नहीं होगा कि तुमको आता नहीं है जो पहले आता था. आता मतलब comprehension, whatever it is that is working for you. So what is going wrong maybe is also overthinking. पहले जब सोचता नहीं था ना सर तो सही आंसर लिख लेता था. अब डर लगता है सोचना, 2 बार सोचता हूं तो आंसर चेंज करता रहता हूं. And I might be end up marking it wrong. So go back. Shivku is absolutely correct. Stop the mocks for that for some time. Go back to those good mocks that you've done. Go back to the bad mocks of yours and see what you've done differently. Right? So अगर तब analysis के notes बनाए आपने, and if those feelings are recorded, you can exactly say what I did right in the good mocks, what I did wrong in the bad ones, right? So I think that analysis is required, right? And relax thoda sa. ठीक है, don't make these patterns in your mind कि जब से इस टाइप से गिरने ही लगा है तो गिरता ही जाएगा, because then you are deciding in your mind कि ये गिरेगा. You're going with a negative mindset, right? Which is not a good thing. Yeah, that's my thing. Sorry, Shivku, I think I interjected.
Shivku and Sazil, I think both of you are absolutely correct of going on, but there's just one additional thing that is important for all those people. It's not just about VARC, DALR, or QA scores or any overall scores. When you start your mocks, your expectations are low. You are welcoming whatever comes your way. But once you start getting decent scores, every time you write your mock, you go with an expectation that you need to ace that, you need to better that. Therefore, you're putting a lot more pressure onto yourself. Overcautiousness happens, and that is where you kind of fail. It's almost like in cricket, when Virat Kohli was getting out almost always on the off stump. And why is it? Because he wants to avoid getting out. Therefore, he is being too cautious or extra cautious, and one single nudge and he's out all the time. That happens to everybody and anybody, the best of the people. The best advice I will give you is what Shivku sir has said. Just don't write the next mock that you have. Take a 4-day, 5-day break. You will be very, very, you will be with a fresh mind. You will do better. Don't go with any expectation.
Okay. So, अगले वाला ले लेते हैं.
The next one. Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, this is the
Okay. I will just take it
second
up.
issue.
Shivku, just give me one moment. Right. I just want to talk about this for a quick while. Guys, on 16th of November, you have your last CAT before CAT, which means it's an open CDC that you can take at a test center. Make sure to take that. Right. You don't miss it, because it is going to give you an exact experience of CAT, and CAT will be a deja vu experience. Right, so it's a better way of taking mocks, because see, generally what I've seen, और हमने जब data analyze किया था, so previous open mock CAT that we took at the test center, तो test center पे लेने वाले बच्चों का जो score आ रहा था, highest, averages, whatever it was lower than the people taking it from home, because home is convenience. Right, get the real feel of CAT and make sure you register for this. I think tomorrow is the last date, so please don't miss this.
How do we book the slot?
I think that is absolutely.
This question.
Okay, how do we book slots for this? You can scan this, you'll be taken there. Yeah, take a screenshot of this right now. If you can't scan it, just take a screenshot of this slide and go to this. First of all, if you're a CL student, straight away it will be available for you to book slots. Otherwise, you might have to pay a very minuscule, meager amount and get this feature for yourself. However, one thing you have to remember is we are going to give you the exact slot that you have in your CAT, the actual CAT, right? So if you, so what we require you to do is you are supposed to submit the admit card, and our system will pull the slot and send you our admit card for the same slot in your city. So just make sure that you do it. Vipul Zope says, I have booked. Good job, buddy. Okay.
I will only say one thing, Sazil, for all of you who are listening to this and hopefully will listen to this and tell your other friends also, do write the next 3-4 mocks that you plan to write at the same slot as your actual CAT slot.
It's about the rhythm. Set up the rhythm in such a way.
That rhythm is
भूख कब
important.
लगनी है,
Atharva also should do
कब
that.
है, खाना कब है, भूख कब लगेगी, राइट, वॉशरूम जाना पड़ेगा तो कब जाना पड़ेगा, रिदम सेट कर लो एज मच एज पॉसिबल, राइट. ओके, सो एक छोटी सी बात रह गई है शिव को इफाई में. कैट डे एनालिसिस होने वाला है, फुल डे एनालिसिस होने वाला है, हर स्लॉट के बाद एनालिसिस होने वाला है. स्टे ट्यून्ड फॉर द चैनल. Okay, we are going to do this in Hindi and English, so whatever your comfort is, right, that's how it's going to happen. When I say Hindi, I mean English. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, so let's get into the next question immediately. My mock scores haven't been very
Let's
high.
do one thing, Sazil and Arks. Let's
Yeah.
try to keep our answers a little short so that we can take more questions from what the students are asking. Yes, slides wala na, let's try to keep it. Scores
Okay, so my
haven't
mocks
been very
haven't been very high, averaging in the late 50s, a maximum of 67. However, I believe I can crack CAT in the next 15 days. Very good. How can I maximize my preparation and performance in this final stretch? So I think I'll start with this with one line, then you can continue. And that one line is, you have started on a very good note. Wherever you are right now, you are positive that you will crack CAT. That's a good way to start. That's a good mindset. Hold on to this mindset till the CAT day. Okay? That's the first thing that I want to say. Yeah. Please ask Shivku.
I have only one thing to say here. Now that you have read it, and I will give the same answer if you have heard what we said to Atharva. Write 4 mocks over the next 12, 13, 14 days. Make sure that the rhythm is continuing at the same time slots that we are saying that your actual CAT slot is. And one important thing is, from areas that you already know, try to improve your attempts by at least two questions in all the 3 sets. Even if you get 4 correct there, you're talking about 10, 12 marks extra. That will be like kind of taking you into the 95 plus percentiles league. Simple.
Yeah. So I think just to add on, agar if you have not done the PYQs till now, if you have not done that, make sure that you do it before the exam. Right?
Correct.
I exactly second what Aks is saying. Moving from 67 to 80, 85 plus is just a question of 4 extra questions right.
Correct.
And your whole purpose must be, I mean, I think I like your confidence saying that I think I can do well. Just go there, because I'll tell you one anecdote here. I know a guy, Sharad Giriya, who went to IIM Ahmedabad 2017, one of my students. He never cracked more than 92 percentile. Usdin, I think 2016 or 2017, I don't know which one, Marks, you can help me, was one of the easiest quant papers, right? So
17.
a lot of people were stopping themselves, whereas this guy went bindas. Right? He was not operating from from a position of fear. He was like enjoying himself. He cracked it. He got a 98.5 percentile. So I like the confidence. I think you just keep that alive for the next 20 days. And PYQs nahi kiya to kar lena.
Got it. Perfect. Next.
Ideal strategy.
I think we have been saying the same thing again and again. Looks like. First and foremost, without fail, 16th ka deja vu CDC kar lena, without any doubt about it. Then add 2 or 3 more mocks from today. Point 1. Point 2, analyze. Point 3, PYQs. If you have not done that, even if you have done that, the way I look at it, Shivku, even if somebody has already done the PYQs, identify your strength areas, whether it's in DI, whether it is in Quant, etc., and rework all those areas. You can't do everything. You obviously can't do everything. For example, if you're good in, let's say, 2 topics like quadratic equations and sequences and series, I'm just giving you an example, and you almost always get 1 or 2 correct in that. Do the PYQs of these 2 topics for the last 5 years, 20 to 24. You will have enough questions, and when you go, it'll improve. Likewise, pick up some 6, 7 topics in Quant, 2 or 3 types of areas in DI. Verbal, you have no choice but to keep practicing a little more. But 3 to 4 marks and this kind of PYQ revision will help you crack the paper.
Yeah, one additional thing. Do not, if I mean, for example, if I were taking CAT, I would make sure that the rhythm of reading does not go away. So I would not take a break from reading, because that is what I am, right? I might be good in quant and DI, but for me, verbal, if I'm sure this must be true with a lot of you, make sure there's no break in reading. The reading rhythm is something that if you read continuously, that rhythm stays. If you give it a break, it takes a break.
Yeah. I think the BCCI is asking Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli to play the Vijay Hazare Trophy also before ODI. I mean, it looks laughable that they are such a brilliant guys. But what Shivku says is right. It doesn't matter how brilliant you are. Without rhythm, it is not going to work. Next, I think in the next we can go. My slot has been changed from 1 to 2. I have been training myself to wake up early. So I want to know how to adjust my sleep. Additionally,
नहीं,
should have
इसको-
lunch
इसको
ठीक
मैं-
है
before
यार,
12:30.
slot 1 नहीं
इसको
है,
मैं
slot
answer
2 है, अच्छा है.
I want to answer this कि भाई एक हफ्ता तो हुआ है, एक हफ्ते पहले कुछ लीक हुआ, उसमें स्लॉट बनाया, एक हफ्ते में तूने क्या ही ट्रेन कर लिया, अभी 3 हफ्ते बचे हैं. What are you complaining, right?
और 2
So
हफ्ते
slot one
बचे
से
हैं,
slot-
उसमें और भी ट्रेन कर लेना.
Right, so I have this problem, by the way. Aks and Shivku, मेरे को slot 2 ना मिले is what I pray every year. Because मेरे को भूख लग जाती है एग्जाम के बीच में, उसके पहले नहीं लगती है, तो I can't eat and go, and then I get hungry, and then I get hangry, and it comes out in the paper in the wrong way. So slot 2 is very bad for me. But then
Should I
you
have
have to
lunch
train.
before 12:30 or after 2:30 on the exam day? It's up to you, yeah.
नहीं, but 12:30 is not possible. No, 11:30 के आसपास तो घुस जाते हो आप, उसके पहले ट्रैवल कर रहे होते हो.
तो
Very
अच्छा से
weird
Have a
time.
breakfast खाओ
decent
और आ जाओ.
breakfast. That's all.
हाँ.
Yeah. So
Are there any
anyway,
specific
that's it.
foods that help avoid क्या? Drowsiness.
Afternoon drowsiness.
Afternoon drowsiness. If you are
Arey,
drowsy in the
nothing
exam, it means you're not
I'm-
solving the questions.
I am sorry. I'm
You
hiding
won't have
Shivku and Aks. I'm hiding Shivku and Aks. I'm saying it. Don't smoke up and go. I think that will help.
Drowsiness.
No, एक चीज है, what Shivku says is right. Boss, once you get into the exam hall, you will not think about drowsiness at all. Don't worry. It won't happen. Unless you are really don't have anything to solve. Then it doesn't
Correct.
matter.
पता
You can
नहीं
sleep.
चलता है वो 2 घंटे कैसे निकल गए. तुमको भूख भी पता नहीं चलेगा. Don't worry about it.
So इसका क्वेश्चन बेसिकली ये है कि हाउ डू आई एडजस्ट माय स्लीप साइकिल और हाउ डू आई सेट माय रिदम. भाई हर एक का अपना है, जो भी रिदम सेट करेगा सही है, कल से शुरू कर और फॉलो कर.
हाँ, तुमको
It's not about
एग्जाम
what is the right rhythm, it's about following that rhythm for the next 17 days, 16 days.
This is a biggest concern is I've already failed once, and this year I'm struggling with confidence. I'm only able to solve one DILR set in most mocks, and my VRC scores fluctuate significantly, although my quant is decent. All these thoughts are overwhelming me. I left my job 6 months ago to prepare, but now I feel the decision. यार मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि ये जो if you get into an exam hall thinking about all the negatives that are going to happen to you, right? You will anyway spoil the paper. So I would ask you to suspend all your thinking about your life for the next 2 weeks. Just try to give the best that you can, because बाकी सब तुम्हारे हाथ में नहीं है. जो होगा सही होगा, right? देखी जाएगी, right? My suggestion is, if you approach the exam with a sense of fear, I think you're anyway going to spoil it. Right? And I always say the Sharad Giriya mantra is a great mantra, right? बाके जाओ और enjoy करो paper, right? Enjoy in the sense that look forward to taking the test. Don't worry about it. I mean, if you start thinking about all the negative things in the world, I mean, this will happen, I think, not just for you. I'm sure that it might happen during the exam hall. For example, the first 5 questions that I did, I couldn't do it. I mean, I thought I'm going to crack this exam, and suddenly I find the first 5 questions are tough. You know, a lot of things will go, you know, wo jo many, like a scroll on the TV screen, you'll find, see so many things. यार 2 साल काम किया, 1 साल काम किया, छोड़ दिया, अगले साल क्या होने वाला है, ये सब चलेगा. And I think you must get into this meditative mood of just obscuring all of that. If you get into that trap, I think you will spoil your exam. So whoever
Okay.
this is, please suspend thinking about what is going to happen. Don't judge what the paper is going to be. Just focus on preparing for the exam and doing as well as you can, in that paper. That's it.
I just want to say one thing. He's saying whether I took a wrong decision. Decisions are never wrong. Never. Any decision is correct. You have to make that decision right. It may work, it may not work. You do your job. नहीं काम किया बाद में सोचेंगे क्या करना है. अभी सोच के तो खराब कर रहा है अपना मूड, अपना माइंडसेट, सब कुछ. Don't do that. Don't think. Do. Just keep doing right now. ओके, ठीक है. एंड स्कोर्स आरंट इंप्रेसिव, वो देखेंगे. तूने अगर सही फॉर्म्स भरे, सही कॉल्स आ जाएंगे, देखेंगे. नहीं हुआ तो we'll see later. Okay, right now for the next 17 days do your job, which is you practice, you rest some, you do whatever analysis that you want, go back to bookmarks, do the PYQs. We've been saying this all over, right? So that's how it is.
And to all of you, I would say that on the day of the exam, I think, or one day before the exam, there are two emotions that you'll have. One is an excitement, right? That nervousness that comes from excitement. The other nervousness that comes from fear. I think the second one is dangerous. You will have to subdue it. Remember, go to some movie. I don't know, we used to say Govinda movie. Whatever is the movie that you want to watch, just do something to relax you on the previous day. You have to subdue those emotions. Go there with the excitement to see cat is saal ka cat kaise hoga, right? I think that will be an exciting thing to do.
Right.
ओके, हाउ कैन आई मैनेज. अच्छा, ये क्वेश्चन लेके हम थोड़े चैट में चले जाएंगे, थोड़े क्वेश्चंस वहां से लेते हैं. हाउ कैन आई मैनेज माय टाइम इफेक्टिवली इन ईच सेक्शन एंड रिड्यूस स्ट्रेस ड्यूरिंग द फाइनल एग्जाम.
I think what we said about the previous question, I think very clearly applies to this also. I have only one extra word to hear. The reason why you have stress is because of what you're thinking through. What Shivku said, stop thinking, it's a great idea. The other point about not thinking is do not have expectations. Now you might say, how can I not have expectations? That's obviously silly to answer, silly to even listen to. But that's exactly what you need to do. You are not there to think ahead of the 2 hours. You are not there to think about what's going to happen next June or July when you are going to start off. So keep your entire focus on that 2 hours. And when you get in that 2 hours, there is no expectation. When will the stress come in? When you are thinking about how many marks you are getting and what will be the percentile cutoff, etc., etc. Look at each question. See whether you can solve it or not. If you can solve it, solve it. Otherwise, go to the next question. Go to the next question. Get it into that kind of a rhythm so that 40 minutes will be completely effective for you. Similarly, for DI, you start with a set. Let's say you want to solve this. Not getting it in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you're not able to come anywhere. Don't feel bad about it. There'll be so many, 5 sets, 4 more sets. Leave it, go to the next one. Leave it, go to the next one. You will be able to solve 1 or 2 very, very comfortably, which will be more than sufficient to get a 90%. And same is the quant area too. So it is about A, no expectations. B, taking question by question, solve, or set by set and solve. And 3, actually enjoy the paper. It's so easy for us to say it sitting here, but trust me, I'm sure Shivku and I have done the same paper when we wrote the exam. The idea was not where will you get in. The idea was, can I understand this question, solve it, enjoy it, make it as much as a third party is solving it rather than you solving it.
Achha,
Okay.
You want to take the questions from the chat?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
let's
couple
do
of them. Couple of them. I'm getting 42 to 50 range when giving LRDI sectionals, but this drops to 30 to 40 range in mocks. How to rectify this?
यार एक चीज मैं ये तो हर साल बोलना पड़ता है. इस साल के मॉक्स, इस साल के सेक्शनल्स वर मॉक्स ऑफ year before last or the year before last. Okay, the level of difficulty is similar. I think it's just the pressure of the situation that pulls down your scores. your caliber has not changed, right? And neither has the level of difficulty of the questions. There might be a little bit here and there. मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि सारे same level के हैं, but the fact is that ये जो mocks है, sectionals है, वो पिछले साल के mocks थे, right? And I remember I used to get the same questions उस टाइम पे भी, सर sectionals में तो होते हैं, mocks में नहीं होते हैं. तो this is one. हाँ
शिवू, ये हो सकता है कि थोड़ा सा मॉक का प्रेशर तो है ही, मतलब द टाइम प्रेशर, द मॉक का प्रेशर इटसेल्फ, बट आल्सो वीएआरसी करने के बाद आते हो तो थोड़ा सा फटीग भी सेट इन होता
है, थोड़ा फटीग होता है, करेक्ट ना, बिल्कुल. एंड क्यूए में इसमें और भी ज्यादा होता है.
No, I have another point of view on this, and I'll tell you, Shivko, you and I might have done it over the last 25 years so many times. When you tell a student that this is a CAT question, invariably the person takes more time and more often than not does not get it right, girl or a boy. But when I say that this question is a 10th class question, which is actually the level of areas that we come in, even a person who is not so good in quant gets the ability to solve it.
So it's a perception.
Fatigue, more than anything, it is the way you think about the exam. It is the stress that you take, saying that, oh, now it is a mock, I have to do well.
Correct.
I am saying, once again, I am repeating this. Expectation is the real culprit. I know it is difficult. Maybe meditation karna padega. But if you can lower your expectations and only focus on set by set or a question by question, you will do a better job.
And if you
this is the power of the brand, no, Arts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm
just
going to say
one
the
moment.
same thing, that if 10 to 15 mocks you've already taken, right? तो CAT की एग्जाम को भी एक और मॉक समझ के लिखोगे तो you'll do better. CAT को CAT ना समझ के you take it as a mock and you'll do better. Because वहाँ प्रेशर और
लेते हैं, नहीं तो किसी और को मैसेज डालने ही नहीं देगा. I mean, I've seen कितने.
नहीं, मैं इसीलिए इग्नोर कर रहा था. So शिव को my rule is anyone more than twice ना, I take his question last because इतना जल्दबाजी है उसको. But good, चल.
नहीं यार, we should take care of them.
5 mocks, QA is stable, VA plus RC is unstable, right? LRDI, what should I do in the last days? What kind of PYQs? In what way? VRC last lap things to avoid. Any?
So for LRDI, I have a simple answer, guys. See, if unstable hai, probably the kind of topics that you're picking up or the set areas you're picking up are going all right. Focus on PYQs once again. Now, one area which has almost always come in logical reasoning is some kind of an arrangement, networks, distribution kind of things. What I would say is, if you look at the last 5 mocks, 5 into 5 papers, 5 CATs, 5 3s are 15, 60 sets are there in that. I would say at least 15 arrangement network type of sets are available for you in those last 5-year CAT mocks, CAT original paper, sorry. So 15 sets in 2 days or 3 days, solve them. Similarly, take, let's say, set theory. Maybe there'll be 10 such set theory questions, sets. Take 2 days, 5 sets, you do it. So given that we have 12, 13, 14 days to work on, pick 4 types of LRDI sets. Only 4 types. Don't try to do everything. 4 types which you are most confident, comfortable in. Solve the PYQ sets over the last 5 years. I am telling you, when you go into the exam hall, out of the 4 or 5 sets that you will see in the actual CAT exam, you will find something very similar to what you have already done in the last 10, 12 days. That will give you confidence, most probably even the correct answers. Likewise, for VARC, I am saying there are RCs. I mean, this is more of a rhythm, like I said. For VARC, take sectionals if you can. Every day, one sectional, if not mocks. That way, kind of, you are going to, at least for 8 to 10 days, that rhythm will happen. But after every mock or every sectional test, go back and look at all the questions that you got it wrong, redo the RC, reread the passage so that your basic familiarity with the type of passage is growing and or the types of questions are growing. I think this is what you should do. There is nothing like something to avoid, but something to do really.
तो इसमें मेरा एक है what kind of PYQ, right? I think any if I have not done PYQs, right, DILR PYQs, I would do all of them, and to expect that there will be a certain type of, so somebody was asking a question, should I focus on games? No, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. Cat में games वाला sets शायद ही, I mean, very few questions have come, but logic is logic, na? Whether it appears as games, whether it appears as missing data or whatever, but we know generally that there are something to do with numbers, managing with, playing around little bit with numbers, little with percentages. These are the standard stuff that come, right? The avatars might be different. So my suggestion is the best representation of whatever can come in CAT is the questions that have come in the CAT in the last 4 to 7 years, right? And whatever, and what do we do when create mocks? We try to anticipate some things, right, bordering some of these concepts, and we give it to them. So either you go back, look at your mock sets, or look at the CAT sets. So my suggestion is there's no types of questions of CAT sets that you should do. If there are things that you're uncomfortable with, definitely work on those. But तुम्हारा जो विपुल है, तुम्हारा स्कोर है ना, मुझे थोड़ा कंसिस्टेंट तो दिखता है, राइट? 57, 63, 49, 41.
Yeah, very
आपको बस 5-6 और क्वेश्चंस करनी है to get past the 70 numbers, right? Think of it like this. That is all you should do.
उसका लास्ट क्वेश्चन ये है, VRC लास्ट लैप थिंग्स टू अवॉइड, राइट? डोंट स्टॉप प्रैक्टिसिंग RC एटलीस्ट टिल 2 days बिफोर कैट. उस लास्ट 2 दिन छोड़ सकता है, छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए, थोड़ा तो करना ही चाहिए, बट डोंट स्टॉप दैट. Secondly, don't leave para jumbles and out of context questions, right? Odd one outs, that is. ये दोनों को छोड़ो मत. और अगर छोड़ना नहीं है, because it's a data, छोड़ना नहीं है, तो अभी से कुछ questions practice कर लो.
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Yeah. Sazil, right? We are not able to hear you at all.
थोड़ा probability of it getting correct is
okay. I think he's not able to hear us too.
Correct.
Right. So ये 2-3 चीजें हैं. VRC को तुम काफी लोग करते हैं. And lastly, इसमें rather than doing 3 whole RCs out.
Okay, so let's pick this question.
Yeah. I think so. Shivko, this is a very good question.
You should rather do all 4.
Shivko, you take it over. This one, I think.
My geometry is left, but one PYQs, my score range from 70 to 80, but never scored more than 100. Confidence is very low now, aiming at ZAT. Do we have time to score a ZAT plus? यार उत्सव, ZAT का छोड़ो, तुम अभी CAT, ZAT के लिए बहुत time है. Whatever you have done for CAT is good enough for ZAT. It's just you need to make a few tweaks here and there. You must understand decision making. But CAT अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुआ है, तुम अभी क्यों give up कर? Your score is on 70 to 80, right? My geometry is left. This is what you're saying. My suggestion is, you know what is left. तो उठाओ ज्योमेट्री, अगले 7-8 दिन में सिर्फ ज्योमेट्री करो. अगले 7-8 दिन में just do the geometry PYQs. You will realize कि I think, see, all put together, if you take the last 7 years PYQs or 8 years PYQs, right, of geometry, you will find close to about 40 to 50 questions. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. Make sure you do that at least, right? So don't give up. I mean, don't think that the war is lost or won till the last battle is I mean, still you have waged the last battle, and that happens in your slot. तो डोंट गिव अप उत्सव. ये जैट के लिए टाइम है कि नहीं? टाइम तो बहुत है. जैट के बारे में कैट के बाद बात करेंगे, अभी नहीं करेंगे.
Absolutely. How do we get the next question here? Because I think Sazir's network has gone for a toss.
अच्छा, this one?
Yeah. This is my first attempt at CAT exam, so I would appreciate general tips on how to approach it. Also, how much should I aim to score to get into a good college, not necessarily the IIMs. Okay, this is one question which a lot of people do ask, especially those who have not really put in great effort and, more importantly, have not written the mocks till now. First thing that we would like you to do is to make sure that the CDC that we are giving you on 16th of November, you subscribe to that, you write that. In addition, ensure that 2-3 mocks more you write it too. General tips wise, I think if you have been hearing us clearly, is to make sure that put in some effort to solve all the previous year's question papers, especially the last 5 years. Second, the 40 minutes each in each of the sections. Do decide on a plan of how you will attempt. I'm not saying how many you will attempt, but at least how you will go about going to, leaving questions so that you go to the next question, so that you maximize your attempts. I think that if you can do, this is your first attempt, you can actually crack it, because given the fact the way it is, you will probably be going with lesser expectations. If you're basically good, you will get a far better scores, according to me.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is your first attempt at CAT, and this is going to be for almost 40%, 50% of the people who are appearing for CAT this time. So there's nothing. So the question is, have you done enough mocks? Have you looked at the analysis? Have you looked at the suggestions that were given in analysis? Do that first. And if you are somebody who's just waking up and saying that okay, उस दिन जाके मैं CAT लूंगा, तब तो कोई एडवाइस की जरूरत ही नहीं है तुमको. I think I mean, if you're confident, आपको शायद जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. If you're going to do something, at least take a few mocks, get suggestions by the teachers or faculty during the analysis. Watch the analysis. It will help you do better as far as the next 10 days are concerned. So the next
there's one question Abhay Oberoi is asking. I don't know whether it can come in. Sir, I am facing heavy burnout. कुछ करने का मन ही नहीं करता.
Wow, सही है. ये होता है.
I find it difficult to maintain my study hours, and my accuracy stamina are drastically drained. I'm confused about what to do. I think this is one thing, again, Shivku, the same advice. Don't do anything for 3-4 days. Take a break.
Take a break.
Genuinely take a break, except keep reading something, reading passages if you can, but take a break in writing mocks. Take a break in even trying to do PYQs for that matter. One break I don't want you to take is a 16th ka CDC. Do make sure that you write it. But maybe 17th to 20th, don't do anything at all. Take a break. That 3-4 days will kind of, re-energize you is what my bet is. Once it comes in the last 9-10 days, Abhay, you will be, far better off is what I would say. I mean, you get the rhythm back. Take then 2 or 3 mocks.
Abhay, I don't know what is your background. Sorry, Arks, I thought you were done.
वो अबे फिर से रहते break से भी कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा है. That means he has already taken a break.
But अबे, I don't know कि तुम कितने घंटे काम कर रहे हो. ठीक है. अगर आप हो सकता है कि see one of the things I don't want to assume, but I'm thinking what happens is I've seen this with a lot of students. People who work 12 hours or put in a lot of effort, somehow when they get closer to the exam and they see that their results are not coming through, right? ये जो expectation that Alex was talking about, वो थोड़ा frustration होता है. Suddenly you feel completely pissed off with the exam. My suggestion is trying to bulldoze through that. It doesn't help. तो मैं तो कहूँगा, it might look a very ridiculous suggestion, but take a complete break and see if you can take a book, some interesting book, बस वो पढ़ो और मस्ती करो, ऐश करो, ठीक है? At least it will keep you in with reading. मेरे हिसाब से your performance is not going to go up or down because you didn't do some 44 or 100 more quant questions. अभी तक जितना किया है, that is good enough. Agar if it's a burnout thing, the way to deal with it is somehow you must get the excitement of taking the test again. Otherwise, you're going to get into the exam hall with fear. तो मैं तो ये सजेस्ट करूंगा, मिनिमाइज जितना तुम मॉक्स ले सकते हो उतना मिनिमाइज करो. Don't spend too much time. Spend a little time on rest of the things in life.
This crazy shots is asking, is slot 3 more difficult than the other slots?
Expectations ज़्यादा है.
I think Gautam is here, so Gautam can answer that question straight.
Hey, hi, Shuku, hi, Aks. Hey,
Hi,
Ravi,
hi.
you're all same, hi.
Hi.
Very interesting, right? This is, I think, the most interesting question. Slot 1 wala bolega, it is the most difficult for me because I am the one who is going to get the surprise. Slot 3 wala bolega,
सही
it's
है.
the most difficult for me because I know everything going in. Slot 2 बोल रहा होगा, बाकी दोनों बोल रहे difficult है, normalization मेरे against जाएगा. So I am the worst slot. So irrespective of which slot you are in, you will come up with some reason or the other to state this is the worst slot.
As such,
If
the
it is
paper
worst,
is not
if
different in
every
any
slot
of
is the
this.
worst slot, then every slot is also the best slot.
Grass is
Very
always
true,
green.
very true.
My funda is simple. If it's the worst slot, if every slot is the worst slot, then every slot is also the best slot. So just look at it from that perspective.
I remember एक फंडा आता था. I don't know which prof. हम तीनों IMC वाले. I remember one of the profs telling कि what is the concept of a surprise exam, right? The day before the surprise exam, suppose surprise exam is supposed to happen this week. Friday there can be no surprise. If Friday there can be no surprise, there can be no surprise Thursday. So
Exactly.
extending that, there is nothing called as a surprise exam. So
Yeah,
सारे slot same है, crazy shot.
So yeah, so
Tension मत लो.
yeah, just relax, yeah. मतलब अब जो आ गया ना state, that is the best possible slot. Easiest paper भी होगा और सबसे ज्यादा students जो अच्छा नहीं perform करेंगे वो भी उसमें होंगे, तो normalization भी तुम्हारे लिए चलेगा. So it will work on both fronts.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, let's take
I'm seeing a couple more questions.
this
here.
chap. Matt's trick tree has been asking too many rhymes. Sir, I have scored 30 to 35. How much can I expect in the actual CAT?
उतना तो आएगा. मैं ये कह सकता हूँ. It depends on the exam, yeah. I mean, we can't say. I mean, we try to get the exam close to it, right? Yeah. But एक चीज तो होती है कैट में कि एक सेक्शन थोड़ा स्लाइटली टफ होता है, एक मॉडरेट होती है, एक आसान होता है, राइट? लास्ट टाइम वाला आई डोंट नो मैन. क्वांट DI was easy. Quant, I think verbal doesn't
DI
change
was
much,
easy
na?
last time.
Verbal doesn't change much. Verbal has arrived at some nirvana stage, right? It does थोड़ा हल्का ऊपर नीचे जाता है. But quant was, I think, probably a little tougher compared to what it was earlier. I mean, if I look at relatively, quant mein going beyond 15 attempts was pretty tough in the last paper.
One thing I'll tell you, somebody who's getting 30, 35 in the mocks, which means about 10 net correct or 12 net correct. I suspect this gentleman or lady, whoever it is attempting far too less questions in all three sections. So therefore, I think you're playing extremely a conservative game unless you are getting too many mistakes. One area is to attempt more if the assumption that I'm making is correct, that you are attempting far too less, maybe attempting only 20, 25 questions in the entire thing, getting about 14, 15 correct and 10 wrong, and therefore ending up at 30, 35 marks. Now the reverse is correct. Let's say you're attempting a lot of questions, getting a lot many mistakes. then I think the next 13, 14 days are crucial to look at those topics in all three sections, and definitely in DILR and quantitative ability, where you are far better off in terms of your own comfort zone, and use the PYQs and the
आर्क्स का भी कट गया क्या?
Yeah. So I thought for a second it's my net which is gone.
No, even I thought. ठीक.
all of us are gone, don't worry. Okay, 50 marks the
Okay.
अभी सजील
It's
का हुआ,
Arks
आर्क्स
started.
का हुआ, अभी मेरा होने वाला
Okay.
है.
Okay.
अच्छा
Cool.
ये वाला
So maybe yeah.
ये अभी एक बंदे का आया था. अच्छा ये ओबेरॉय का है. वो कहता है कि he has dropped here and is always in front of the screen. इसीलिए तो उसका is अक्षय just sack out. स्क्रीन से आगे निकल जाना. Don't sit in front of the screen. तो तुम्हारा that entire फंडा ऑफ ब्रेक के बाद नहीं हुआ. ठीक है, ब्रेक तो तुम स्क्रीन से ब्रेक लो. बर्नआउट वाला स्टोरी है आर्क्स.
Yeah, exactly. Acha, there's one guy is asking, I wanted to give only previous year papers and previous year's questions. Should I also take CL mocks? I would say yes, of course. I mean, first and foremost, 16th ka CDC, which is a very useful one, I would say. Please take that. And in addition, take at least 2 or 3 more mocks, because mocks take care of the previous year's CAT papers also. We make sure that when we give you a mock, the types of questions, the levels of difficulty that comes in the actual original CAT papers and novelty that is required in the real CAT, all these 3 things are taken care of. Hence, not writing mocks is not a good idea at all. At least 3 at least, if not 4. That's my thinking. I don't know, Ravi and Gautam and Shivku, your ideas.
Yeah, at least take the 16th वाला mock. बाकी तो तुम PYQs ही ले लो. PYQs बिना PYQs करे तुमको जाना नहीं चाहिए. This is clear. And तुम्हारे पास जब, I mean, there's no point trying to take CL का CAT test series now. At least take the 16th वाला mock, because it will give you a great experience of experiencing the CAT before CAT. Going and sitting in the, no, it's like you know how to, एक तो तुम concrete wicket में खेल रहे, और actually then you go and play on the real track. That's when you understand what test match cricket is, or any cricket for that matter. So you need to know how to play on the pitch, on the turf, right? So I think this will be a great experience for you. Potato the slayer.
Yeah.
Slay the potato and feed it to the cats. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, spot on. I think no two ways about that.
Anandi says, I am unable to solve quants in mocks, but I am done with all concepts. Anandi, you're not done with the concepts. When you say you're done with the concepts, it means you can explain everything in the PYQs to anybody, right? तो मैं तो ये कहूँगा, I mean, not able to solve questions in the quant in mocks is probably some way of suggesting that you have not probably understood everything that is there in the PYQs. So my suggestion is pick areas of comfort, pick arithmetic, algebra, just make sure that you revise them thoroughly. That will help you score probably at least 6 to 7 questions in CAT. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, but I'll probably add one thing to that. And I saw this question a little earlier as well. I'm going to add on to that. I think this is what Ashilbad had stated. I'm getting 42 to 50 in sectionals, but it drops to 30 to 40 in mock. So I think for both these cases, one is conceptually, in the first case, Anandi, I think what Shivku stated is spot on. Conceptually, you might be feeling that I know everything, but obviously there are surely gaps because of which this is happening. But The second aspect is very similar to what I'm going to answer to Ashirvad as well is, yeah, when does quant come in the CAT paper? Your quant starts in the 81st minute. And when is it that you sit at home and solve quants? Either early in the morning or late at night. उससे 1 घंटा पहले टीवी देखा, खाना खाया, चिल मारा, गर्लफ्रेंड से बात की, बॉयफ्रेंड से बात की, घर पे बात किया. Basically, you were relaxed just before you started quant practice at home. And in CAT, quant happens after you just stated DILR का 5 सेट में 2 तो समझ ही नहीं आए, 2 were in some other language, 1 I was barely able to solve. RCs में 3 RCs, God knows which genre they were. 2 I was barely able to attempt. Verbal logic, God only knows kya aaya. All of that is going on. 81st minute, now quant comes. But when you're practicing at home, ekdam fresh mind. Obviously, you will see a difference. Obviously, in a sectional, when I'm doing it at home, I'm going to score 40, 45, and here I will suddenly see 4 questions come, I'm going to score or attempt. So that's exactly what happens on many occasions with LRDI and with quant. Hence, I am a firm proponent in the fact that you need to practice these sections when you're slightly stressed. And a common example which I give in jest is the best time to practice quant is right after you fought with your girlfriend. अब अगर सॉल्व कर पाए हो एग्जाम में भी सॉल्व कर लोगे. अब अगर सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा वो एग्जाम में भी नहीं होगा. If after that stress you're unable to do it, you will not be able to do it in the exam. So basically, try mimicking what is going to happen.
Basically, you are
in the
saying
exam.
fight with the boyfriend or girlfriend.
जरूरी है. And
just-
उसके बाद तुरंत सॉल्व करो और देखो हो रहा है कि नहीं. वो खाली झगड़ के छोड़ मत देना, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. झगड़ने के बाद ये कर भी लेना, नहीं तो रिस्क ले लोगे और बोलोगे वहां पे भी रिस्क ले लिया, यहाँ पे भी कोई रिवॉर्ड की अपॉर्चुनिटी.
दोनों रिस्क हो गया.
So,
Correct.
So don't do that. Ashirvad is saying gonna risk my relationship to crack CAT. So yeah, risk it. Why not? उसको भी बाद में हो जाएगा. ABC जाओगे. आजकल मैं देखता हूँ Reddit पे लोग फ्लेक्स मारते हैं इसका. I am from B, you will not talk to me. I've heard that very recently. So yeah. Mukund is saying singles क्या करे. Brown is asking something similar. यार मम्मी से झगड़ लो और किसी से झगड़ लो, फ्रेंड से झगड़ लो, anybody who matters to you से झगड़ लो, झगड़ के स्ट्रेस लो जिंदगी में, डू इट. और 19th November 2023 का वर्ल्ड कप मैच फिर से देख लो, एंड राइट आफ्टर दैट गो सॉल्व क्वांट.
I think this question is useful. A lot of people will
that
ask.
India experienced, the heartbreak that India experienced. So please go ahead and do that. Yeah.
हर साल यही
The
होता
last
है
year
अखिल.
official mock told that 5 sets are going to come. This year's official PYQP exact. Can we expect this year to be the same to 2024? No. I think that's the simplest answer. You can't expect anything. मतलब you can expect whatever you want. आएगा जो वो लोग ने already set किया हुआ है. It could be 4 sets, it could be 5 sets, it could be 6 sets. It could be 20 questions, 22, 24 questions. It could be anything. Basic funda and how you approach the paper doesn't change. Imagine last year 22 questions आए थे, क्या किया था? Number of sets, but nothing. मतलब had I given you 4 questions, okay, 5 sets 20, or I give you 3 sets of 4 questions and 2 sets of 5 questions, does it change anything? Does it really change anything? So similarly, what if this year they state, okay, I will give 5 sets, each of them I will give 5 questions, 25 questions. Will it change anything? So no point thinking about these things ना. What is the point? At the end of the day, एक चीज तो दिख रहा है 2020 से लेके 2024 तक, एक slightly they've hit upon a sweet spot of somewhere between 20 to 22 questions. एक ही range में है. 99 percentile is between 30 to 37. 50% of overall marks ले आओगे तो हो जाएगा. Just go by that. Forget everything else. Why stress so much in life? और बहुत कुछ है ना stress लेने को. Ravi has not said anything for a long time.
And you go to the exam hall and see if nothing has changed, be happy. If something has changed, be ready for it. That's it.
Actually,
if something has changed, be happier.
I don't
Very
remember.
happy if you are smart. If you want to get into an IIM, any of the top IIMs, and if something changes, a lot of people will panic. If you can avoid that panic, I think you will be getting there. As simple as that. So First,
be ready for
consider
anything.
yourself worthy of getting into the IIMs or the top institutes. Once you have that feeling, you will not bother whether there are 20 questions, 22, 5 sets or 4 sets, like Gautam has said.
Last year, official
Ravi
mock,
Teja,
official mock last year did not have sentence placement questions. Exam had it.
correct.
So it's basically the agenda of releasing the official mock from the CAT's side is to get you accustomed with the exam interface.
Oh,
Nothing more.
incidentally,
वो भी
Ravi,
change हुआ था,
just
if
to
I'm
add
not wrong, in
this,
23 or
right from
something.
2000 that the or even 1997, there used to be booklets, Shivko, if you remember.
Yeah,
The CAT booklet used to come. Nowadays, everything is online, but we used to have a CAT booklet. And at the end of the CAT booklet, they used to print a mock CAT, so to say, which was nothing but the previous year's CAT. This tradition of giving the previous year's paper in the current year's, so to say,
brochure.
notification brochure has continued for 25, 30 years now. So it's not going to make anything. You don't
I think
expect
if I'm
anything. So
understanding correctly, 2022 में official mock में DILR was not the second section, it was the third section. Quant दूसरे में दे दिया था, ऐसा कुछ कर दिया था.
Yeah,
तो वो भी देख के डर
they
गए
messed
थे.
that up.
But the official media release had said that it will have 3 sections. Section 1 is VIRC, section 2 is DILR, and section 3 is Quant, and the paper stayed like that. So official mock is just a placeholder there, just to tell you the instructions कैसे रहते हैं, starting the test, how do you start the test, those kind of things basically.
जाके एक टेस्ट ओवरव्यू देख लेना, कैलकुलेटर कैसे दिखता है ये सब देख लो, राइट? कैलकुलेटर में काम करना सीख लो.
क्वेश्चन पेपर बटन कहाँ आएगा, वो सब चीजें which will be useful for you on the exam day. Press every button there is and check what the utility of that is and how you could.
How does the question paper view look for RC, for DI, for Quant? Do all of that. It's for you to get accustomed to this.
This question I found very interesting. Mukund Wala put it here. Sir, I got to know from someone that CAT changes its pattern every 5 years. Something same will happen this year too. Even I didn't know this, so that's news to me.
Someone told you this because this year is a multiple of 5. Nothing else. They are just screwing with you.
So very good, yeah. मतलब अगर ऐसा हुआ है तब तो nice.
First thing is ऐसा तो हुआ नहीं है. Just for information.
There have been some subtle pattern changes. There have been some subtle pattern changes every year.
See, last time it happened in 2020 na, because of COVID. So usko le liya, plus 2025 is coming. So it's a nice thing to come up with.
But क्या, I mean 2020 के बाद 2024 के बीच में कुछ बीच में भी तो changes हुआ था.
I mean,
basically what they are saying is 2 घंटे का ही था. तो अब शायद घंटे भी चेंज हो जाए, वो तो नहीं हो रहा है, तो पता ही है.
वो 2 घंटे में क्वेश्चंस भी तो चेंज हुए हैं ना.
एडमिट कार्ड में आ चुका है.
अब बोलने वाले चोरी चाहिए, कुछ भी बोलेगा.
That's what I'm saying. So this is a nice time to not talk to people. Mukund,
I got to know from someone. Very good.
Nice time to avoid that someone.
खुफिया खबर है ये.
खुफिया खबर है.
So avoid that someone going forward. That's all.
That's a good one.
Okay, cool.
Next,
what
any
we'll
questions
do is, I think,
next? Okay, you guys carry on with the questions then. I think this R is for Gautam and Ravi. We have been hijacking it for too long, I guess.
No, good. The more the merrier.
So I will stay for 10-15 minutes and then I'll go.
Sure.
ठीक है यार.
Please.
Sarthak Mitra's question, I like that question very much. Sarthak, he's saying, sir, I'm kind of feeling more sleepy as the exam is coming close. Sleeping 8 to 9 hours a day. Sarthak, this happens in 2 scenarios. One is that you are taking stress for the exam. Number 2 is that you have B12 deficiency. Go get your blood. It has recently happened with me. I have B12 deficiency. Doctor has suggested I take methylcobalamin tablets along with 2x every day. Over a period of 2 weeks, it should settle. See, honestly, 2 weeks before the CAT, you would not want to be in a position where you are risking anything. So if you want to get a blood test done, get it done. If there is headaches, anything related to your sleep pattern, these are caused because of vitamins. These are very honest, serious matter, boss. You go and get this test done. Test आपका without prescription भी हो जाता है.
और मत
If
डरा दे रवि, ऑलरेडी डरा हुआ है.
करा लो.
Ravi, this is the advantage of working
बहुत
with
डरा
the
दे.
hospital industry, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a tinge of seriousness in what Ravi has stated. So please go ahead and get that done. In case there is an issue, it should be resolved. Having said that, 8-9 hours a day, there is a third reason as well कि मैं एकदम chilled
उतना
out
तो
हूँ, मेरे को
स्लीप
पता है
करनी
मैं
चाहिए
बोलने
यार,
वाला
8 घंटे तो स्लीप करनी चाहिए यार.
हाँ.
तो
So see, if 8 hours is your normal and you're sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours, that is absolutely fine, by the way. Okay? But if
yeah,
your normal
exactly.
is 6 hours and suddenly you have started sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours, then
So
check.
there's also this fact that you might be feeling a little chilled out. You might be feeling confident, so that's a good thing. Just ensure a couple of things. ये 8-9 hours अगर सो रहे हो, वो cat slot के time नहीं सो रहे हो. If your slot
I
is
was about to say
8:30
that.
to 10:30, I hope you're not doing that. Please
It's
ensure that
important
you're getting
when
up.
is this 8 to 9 hours happening?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
if we said this before about an hour back, and again, if a new students have joined, we would like you to tell one very important thing, and I think Gautam, Ravi, you can continue, is whatever mocks that you're going to write, first one, the 16th ka CDC, you please take it up. But whichever mocks that you plan to write over the next 10-12 days, please write the mock or take the mock in the same slot as your actual CAT slot. That rhythm definitely helps, according to me.
Absolutely, spot on. Do ensure you're doing that, and even if you're not writing a mock, my reco is still going to be कि 8:30 to 10:30 अगर सुबह है, तो 8:30 to 10:30 you should be doing something. You should be solving something. You should be ensuring your mind is sharp. ये नहीं 8:30 to 10:30 I'll go to the gym in the morning. Your body will get used to physical exercise rather than mental exercise in that time period. Similarly, and I state this, I've been taking a couple of sessions, over the last couple of weeks, 4:30 to 6:30. I hope a lot of you all go to the gym in the evening, 4:30 to 6:30. I've asked this question and I get a lot of people raising their hand stating that is happening. Not the right thing at this point in time. You don't want your body to get accustomed to that. You don't want to be one of those who's addicted to a chai or a coffee at 5 p.m., 5:30 every evening. वो 4:30 से 6:30 नहीं मिलने वाला उस टाइम. If that might have an impact. If you're one of those who's having lunch 12:30 to 2:30, which I think is 90% of India, if not more, so वो भी you need to get rid of if you're 12:30 to 2:30 वाला slot.
या उसको कोई एनर्जी ड्रिंक 3 बजे पी के जाना चाहिए अंदर.
हाँ, वो the 4:30 slot one. But even the 12:30 to 2:30 guys, 11:30 के बाद you won't be eating anything. So your body needs to be used to it. It shouldn't be that I'm one of those who doesn't have breakfast and every day I have 12:30 ko khana or a brunch or something. These are intangibles which we don't think of, but they eventually go ahead and impact. If it even impacts you by 2 to 3 questions, that's humongous. Yeah, 2 to 3 questions is humongous. Don't let that happen. Please focus on the intangibles. And like Ark stated, please ensure every single mock is taken in the same time slot, and you're ensuring that your mind is operating correctly, in that specific time slot as well. These are a couple of important things. What I'll do is I'll take a few questions that we already have in the PPT. Ravi, probably you can take the first one. How can I effectively manage the exam pressure? So these are certain questions that students had shared that they wanted us to answer.
See, primarily exam pressure. Okay, let's face the facts. All of us, all 295,000 people who are going to write the exam, including some of us who have been taking this exam for many years, will also feel pressure on that day. That pressure is equal for everyone. The level of difficulty of the exam in your particular slot is equal for everyone in that particular slot for any of the sections. Ideally, I would look at it like I am breaking. If I would look at it like a 20-20 match, that there is power play, then there is middle overs, and then there is finishing. right? The last 5 overs. So power play is VRC. That is where I warm up my mind, and I get into reading that zone, that logical, like critical thinking. That part of my brain is activated. I am continuously doing that for 40 minutes. It is very essential that I keep my calm there. But okay, even if you lose a couple of wickets or 3 in the power play, middle overs is a different ball game altogether. Because power play, you are playing against fast bowlers. Middle overs, you will typically play against spinners. It's a different subject. It's a different section. It's a different ball game altogether. Whatever has happened in VRC in the first 40 minutes, there is nothing you can do about it right now. If it has gone good, yes, you carry that forward. That momentum you can carry forward. But if it has not gone very well, at the end of 40 minutes, I suggest just stand up, take a 30-second break. If there is a water dispenser, go have some water and come back. It's okay अगर एक section as planned आपका नहीं जा रहा है. If you are well prepared and you are feeling VRC is difficult, that means everyone else who has taken it might also have found it relatively difficult to what they would have expected in the exam. So in that sense, आपका बुरा गया तो सबका ही बुरा जा रहा होगा. वो belief आपको रखना पड़ेगा in that way. And then you look at the middle overs as a separate game altogether. It's a DILR is a separate game altogether. That is a different section. You don't let whatever happened in the power play impact that. You keep continuing playing like the Abhishek Sharmas of the world. That is the new cool today. Okay, wickets might be falling, but Abhishek Sharma will still be striking at that 200 if he is not out. Right? So that kind of a thing. And then obviously, lot of times I've seen a lot of students going through this, that VRC and DLR did not go as planned, then I will take up that pressure in Quant and completely ruin it. No, boss, see, what you have to keep in your mind is, if let us say you were going ahead with a preset target score, which is not good to have, but even then, if you are going ahead with a preset target score of 40 marks, I want 40 marks in VRC. But you were able to attempt only 12 or 13 questions or 15 questions because of the level of difficulty of the questions. Even in that case, you have to keep in mind, okay, my primary objective here is that scaling will happen at a section level. Your total score is a dependent variable. The independent variables are your individual section scores. So individual section scores मेरे कितने आ रहे हैं पे डिपेंड करता है. तो एक सेक्शन में अगर आपने सेक्शनल लेवल कट ऑफ लेवल तक भी पहुंच गए, तो बाकी दो सेक्शन में यू हैव टू प्ले अ डिफरेंट गेम एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यहाँ पे मेरे को मैक्सिमाइज करना चाहिए. सो इफेक्टिवली एग्जाम प्रेशर उसी के वजह से ज्यादातर आता है. This is one factor, that you carry pressure forward from one section to another section. You should avoid that. Within a section, GB, what do you say? How do within a section, in the very first section, timer pressure जो होता है, that 40 minute timer pressure. How would you?
I have two parts to it. I like the wording of the question. How can I effectively manage pressure? Because that means you're not stating how do I get rid of pressure. Because the moment you say you get rid of pressure, it means the exam didn't matter to you. If it matters to you only, then will you be stressed only, then will there be some sort of pressure. So I think that's a good thing, first and foremost. And that is something you will always hear cricketers or sports person state. That I decided to quit when I realized that I don't like getting up in the morning and doing this every day. I do not feel the pressure when I walk out to the middle. That's when they realize that it is probably not mattering as much to me as it should. So if you're feeling the pressure, first and foremost, say, well done. Good. It matters to me. So I think that's the very first thing. Second, how do you effectively manage it? By stating that, again, there is this thing of relative grading. This is also relative grading, pressure. Everybody else might crumble under it. If I am able to handle it and bear it, automatically I'm better than the others. Automatically I'm doing better than the others. So that's the way that I will look at it, which is sabko hai. I am accepting it. Work using that to my favor. Wind advantage hai. I am hitting the ball in the direction of the wind. Hawa leke jayegi ball ko boundary ke bahar. So I will just look at it from that perspective. Utilize it to your advantage. And your advantage here is that the others will be stressed. Like Aak stated, kuch paper mein change aa gaya. Paper suddenly difficult aa gaya. Kuch aa gaya. 70-80% of the janta which was your competition is no longer your competition. Because they are stressed. They are done. and you are going to, and you should get happy, not okay, but शांत होके ठीक है, अच्छी बात हुई है मेरे लिए. Maybe this is one of those papers where I don't need to go overboard. Maybe I don't need a 35 in quant. Maybe a 28 in quant might do it. 25 in quant could do it. I might not need 3 sets in DLR. Maybe 2 might do it. Automatically give yourself that. And then when you start solving, 2 question होते, 3 होते, 4 होते, adrenaline rush आता है, क्या पता 35 तक ही पहुंच जाओ, 40 तक ही पहुंच जाओ. Always keep that in mind. Second, pressure जब आता है ना, forget about everything else. Just solve that one question. जब वो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन होता है ना, आंसर आया, सी क्लिक किया, वो ब्लू हो गया और नेक्स्ट किया, ऑटोमेटिकली देयर इज अ फील गुड फैक्टर, देयर इज एन एड्रेनालिन रश कि मैंने एक कर लिया, कैट इतना बड़ा चीज है, फर्स्ट आंसर डन, सॉल्व्ड, मूव अहेड, one करके keep moving ahead. So I think don't get bogged down. If there is pressure, be happy and try utilizing it to the best of your ability by keeping in mind that others are going to get bogged down and others are going to crumble under it, and I could be one of those who could use this to my advantage.
One point to add to this, Gautam, if I can, is see, the pressure comes because you are expecting something. You are expecting that you will do well, or you will get into an IIM or any of the top schools, etc. kind of things. So if you want to really manage any pressure, I mean, it's easy for me to say this, but desist any expectations. When you have the 2 hours and that 40 minutes for each of the questions, and like Gautam, as I said, the one question in front of you, only focus and concentrate on that question. Similarly, the next one until 40 minutes, and the next 40 minutes, and the next 40 minutes. That 120 minutes, कुछ और नहीं सोचना है. Beyond cat, कुछ भी है तो बाद में देखेंगे. Anyway, you'll have to think about it, not within that 120 minutes. That's all I would say. That will automatically manage your pressure.
Absolutely, and that's exactly in sync with what Jijo stated, Om. Om is saying, so Jijo sir told us to just think that I need to do just one more question, just one more, not set any specific targets, and that boosted my confidence. That's exactly what I just stated, and that's exactly what Aks just stated. Just that one question in front of you, just handle that.
Okay, guys, you guys carry on. All the very best to everybody.
Sure. See you, Aks. Thank you.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
See you. Thanks.
Bye, Ravi.
Bye. Bye, Akshay.
Let's move to the next one. Sir, what should be my ideal strategy to attempt and improve performance in DILR? हम लोग को ही आना था. Yeah, Ravi.
See, ideal strategy कुछ नहीं होता. I mean, the way in which GB sir will attempt DILR will be slightly different from the way in which I will do it. Will be slightly different from the way Shivku sir does it, or Jiju sir does it, or GP sir does it. So each of us will have a different comfort zone of working. For example, I love numbers. I love any set that has numbers. I don't tend to solve questions which are pure analytical reasoning arrangement kind of sets. So based on that, I choose and pick and choose my questions, which ones to target. But I think ideally, if I had to state, I would say, because it is the questions that define the set. It is not necessarily the setup that defines the set. Because GB, if you remember, 2022, I think there was a set which 8 players participate in a football tournament. 8 matches are happening. All of them taken together have scored 12 goals. If you read only that setup part of it and decide it is games and tournaments and think मेरे को games नहीं आता, then you have left out on a lallu question, because that was pure number based arrangement. उसके बाद 8 मैच में 12 गोल होने कितना ही combination बन जाएगा, right? It was a simple pure number based arrangement after that. So in that sense, ideal strategy is to maximize the questions you attempt, not necessarily to maximize the sets you attempt in the exam. Okay? Questions. So when I look at it, I can broadly categorize the sets into 4 different types, not topic wise, but type of questions wise. There could be all 4 definite or all 5 definite kind of questions. Those are high risk, high reward questions. मतलब all 4 definite answer का मतलब ये है कि you spend 12 to 15 minutes in that. At the end of 12 to 15 minutes, you either get all 12 to 15 marks or gaya to pura gaya. So it is high risk, high reward. then there is a 3-2 or a 2-2 kind of question, 2 definite answers and 2 ifs, which will be probably 50% of the sets in the exam. I mean, over the last 2-3 years at least, फुल डेफिनेट आंसर वाले कम ही आते हैं, तो एक या दो ही सेट आते हैं, बाकी ऐसे 2-2 या all 4 if वाले आते हैं. So if you look at that 2-2, that is a low risk, because at the end of 6th minute you will get those 6 marks, or you will not get those 6 marks, but at the end of 6th minute you will probably understand that you have picked the wrong set. That's a low risk, low reward, low initial reward and cases later. And then there is a all 5 if wala set. That all 4 if or all 5 if is the set that I would want to typically solve when I have the last 7 minutes or last 10 minutes in the paper and I want to move to another set. I would look for a set which has all 4 if or all 5 if, because that is essentially 4 different questions of quant or 5 different questions of quant. उसको मैं वैसे देख सकता हूँ, because वो वाले questions में setup या data just basic rules होते हैं, and you will primarily work on each case which is asked in each question differently. So last 7-8 minutes may leave that all 4 if or all 5 if for that last question that you are going to attempt. That would be my suggestion. GB, obviously.
Perfect.
Set selection is another important point. GB, you can take them through that.
Yeah, so I think we've spoken about this enough. We've had a lot of sessions, RT99 and all, where we've spoken about all of this. I don't want to reiterate a lot of it, but Ravi has already pointed out most aspects that I would have stated as well. The only other aspect that I think, and this is where Ravi and I are slightly different, I think, in the way we attempt the paper. Ravi likes to pick up the first set, look at it, go ahead, kuch hota hai karo, nahi hota second jao, hota hai nahi hota, so on and so forth. So he takes it one at a time. I am slightly different in the sense I like to spend the first 5-6 minutes looking at all sets. वो देख के मेरे को एक फील गुड फैक्टर आ जाता है, पता चल जाता है अच्छा ये जॉनर है, ऐसा है, ये टाइप के क्वेश्चंस है, अच्छा इस वाले सेट में मैक्सिमम मिनिमा पूछा है एंड टीटा पूछा है, नहीं देख के अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, अच्छा इस सेट में देखो ये वाला जो सेट है इसमें क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 जो है इसके ऑप्शन से मेरे को और डेटा पॉइंट मिल रहा है, वो ये देख के अच्छा लग रहा है, अरेंजमेंट भी है, एडिशनल डेटा भी आ रहा है, अच्छा ये वाला जो सेट है, अरे ये तो लास्ट ईयर जो आया था सेट एकदम अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट सिमिलर लाइंस, सीन मस्ट डू. Those sort of things start going on in your head when you look at all those sets, and thereby that gives you a little bit of confidence in terms of how you want to go ahead and attempt it. So that's generally the school of thought that I come from. But one thing which I agree with Ravi on is that 15 दिन बाकी है, जो करते थे वही करो, अब कुछ चेंज मत करना, बिकॉज अब अगर कुछ चेंज करने जाओगे it takes 21 days for anything to become a habit. I think we all know that you don't have 21 days. So please don't go ahead and change anything. हाँ, if you're one of those जो सब कुछ करने के बाद 4-5 मार्क ही आ रहे, उससे ज्यादा नहीं आ रहे, तब it makes sense to take a punt. Anyways, उस 4-5 मार्क से कुछ होना नहीं था. Then you might want to hear one of Ravi or me, depending on आप जिसके टाइप का कर रहे हो, दूसरे टाइप का ट्राई मार के देख लो अगर कुछ होता है. But you're already one of those जो 15-16 या उसके आसपास and above ला रहे हो, please don't change anything. You at least want to ensure कि वो sectional हो जाएगा. अगर उससे ज्यादा हुआ because the day of the exam works in your favor, great. So my only recommendation is हम लोग जितना भी अभी ज्ञान दे, don't action on that ज्ञान if it means a complete overhaul of your strategy, because it's too close to the exam to do any of that.
Correct.
That's about
I think reiterating one point that you spoke about, spending 5-6 minutes in the beginning to choose sets. I think what people miss out on in that part in general is, you mentioned very clearly कि इसमें 3-4 टीटा पूछा है, मैक्सिमा मिनिमा पूछा है, इसमें क्वेश्चन में डेटा दिया है जिसके वजह से मैं टेबल भर सकता हूँ, हेल्प हो सकता है.
So questions are being read along with the set.
Judgment, you are taking that judgment call on the basis of reading the questions. Where will you make a mistake in picking the set is when you make the judgment only on the basis of familiarity. See, familiarity is an important aspect, but it is actually the questions at the end that will define ki complexity kitna rahega. Till 2021 GB, I used to feel my games and tournaments में मैं बहुत भगवान हूँ. Javelin came.
फिर javelin आया.
Javelin आया exam में, मैं क्या करूँ अब? I could either solve javelin or the other 3 sets. That was the equation, because that was that lengthy. So in that sense, 2022 example that I was giving, games and tournaments nahi hai wo. That is not games and tournaments, though it
Yeah.
feels like games and tournaments, right?
Correct. I'll want to pick up this question because I think Gaurav is asking, Ravi sir, GB sir, which slot are you in, by the way? I am in slot 1, Ravi
I'm
is
in
slot 3. So we're not in the
finally
same slot.
after 4 years, I got rid of that slot 1. I get to sleep on the cat day. I get to complete
Yeah.
my sleep on the cat day.
That was the only thing that I did not want. कि भैया नींद ना मिले, but ठीक है, जल्दी सो जाएंगे. I want to pick this up because I've read this earlier as well. Why CL DLR was so hard, totally demotivated everyone. I did PYQ 23 slot 2 sectional, got 38, which I never did in CL DLR or even some CL mocks combined. And I think somebody else had also stated earlier, some market में ये बात चल रही है कि CL के mocks इस बार काफी difficult है as compared to other mocks and stuff like that. मेरा इस पे एक ही चीज रहता है, like somebody had pointed out earlier ना, that somebody has told me कि every 5 years में ये चेंज होता है. मार्केट में भी जब बात हो रही होती है वो कोई somebodies आते हैं and someones आते हैं. For me, the only thing that matters is at the end of the day when we do an analysis and we show you the data of where that 90 percentile, that 80 percentile, that 99 percentile is vis-a-vis what it has been in CAT over the last 3 to 4 years. And in almost every single mock, other than maybe 1 or 2, it has always been in and around what it has been in CAT over the last 3 to 4 years. If that is the case, then how is it that the mocks are very difficult? If the 99 percentile and the 80th percentile and the 90th percentile is still in and around what it has been in the actual CAT exam over the last 4 years. So if the CL mocks are very difficult, then you are saying that CAT is very difficult. Then इसका मतलब मेरे से CAT भी नहीं होगा. या फिर आप बोल रहे हो नहीं, CAT जब होता है उसमें पता नहीं मेरे को प्रेशर नहीं होता पर CL के मॉक्स में प्रेशर होता है. So then I don't know why is there so much pressure in the mock but not pressure in the actual exam. Because as per the actual data which we see and openly share in every single analysis, you can see where the percentiles lie. So my only takeaway from that is going to be any mock, any test series, forget CL, it could be any that you're taking out there. It is as good as or as bad as the people taking it, and as good as and as bad as what you want to derive from it. If your objective is going to be कि आके अगर मेरे को इसमें 15 मार्क मिले, then I will say it was a bad mock, then it is a bad mock. Then you will always say it is a bad mock. Irrespective कि मेरे को 15 मार्क मिले but I could have scored 30, you will turn around and state it's a bad mock. So my funda at the end of the day is, if you are attempting a mock wherein you are seeing that there are people out there who are scoring a 35, scoring a 40, scoring a 45, then the only question to me would be, what is it that I need to do to improve by that one question, those two questions, that one set? That's the way that I would approach it, rather than stating नहीं ये टेस्ट सीरीज ही बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट है, मॉक ही बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट है, because you don't want that similar attitude come CAT day. That's the only thing that I want to say. Ravi, in case you want to add something to it.
Not much on this. See, when the academics team decides that this year there are 30 mocks that will go, 15 flexis and 15 pros, and they come up with a schedule, they typically come up with an entire plan also. Okay, where do we want this fluctuation to happen in terms of section wise difficulty? There is a design to it. So anyone who will go through that entire journey of all 30 mocks will see very easy mocks also, very difficult mocks also, moderate also, difficult also, easy also. So anyone who has gone through that journey of those things, I think would agree that there have been easy mocks as well. And there have been difficult mocks. I will not say there were not difficult mocks. There were a couple of them which were difficult to score in. Well, in which I also tried to attempt and I could not attempt more than 2 sets. Otherwise, normally I attempt more than 2.5 sets in a normal scenario. Right? So there have been difficult mocks, but there have been mocks in which I could attempt 4 sets also. So in that sense, there is a good mix of mocks. When you look at those 30 mocks altogether, what the academics team, what we typically want to make you accustomed to is all levels of possible difficulties, all possible combinations. There were mocks in which VRC was insane, but DILR was manageable. बट VRC के प्रेशर के वजह से DILR में गड़बड़ कर दिए. We have seen that, and we have been seeing that happening over the years for quite some years now. So it is a learning. It is a complete journey through which you learn. That is why we keep insisting कि बॉस मार्च में अगर मॉक स्टार्ट हो रहा है तो मार्च से लेना स्टार्ट करो. नहीं, some people, I'm not pointing out or I am not retaliating to your comment or anything, but some people will always, पूरा syllabus खत्म करके आऊंगा उसके बाद लूंगा. Then they will not. When you're trying to finish the syllabus, you're trying to get hold of concepts, but you're not trying to get hold of application. Mocks is where, or sectional tests is where you essentially apply and then go back to the concepts and revise if you are not able to do well, right? So I think it has been, there have been mocks which have been tougher. There have also been mocks which have been easier, right? If you look at the last mock or the previous one, uske pehle ka, I think all 4 or 5 sets were manageable in some nature, right? So there have been, in fact, Quant maybe there have been extremely difficult papers. There have been extremely easy papers also, because CAT has no certain level to it. Yeah. If you compare CAT 2023 versus 2024 in DILR, it was a completely different ball game. It was like someone was playing in Lucknow versus someone was playing in Bangalore. Right? Those different different pitches and stadiums it was. But at the same time, VARC last year was comparatively tougher as compared to the previous year. So these changes happen, and you will always find different levels of difficulties.
Yeah, so I'll want to probably just go ahead and answer this particular question. And I have a good slide, I think, which I generally refer to. And I just want to spend probably... Ravi, is my screen visible?
Yeah, I can see that.
Perfect. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes on this, and I want to explain the logic behind it and why it happens. Last year, a 50 percentile in Quant in CAT was at 3 marks. 3 marks. A 50 percentile in DILR was at 3 marks. Hence, we always state this, that generally 50% of the people writing CAT are making up numbers. Matlab, nobody here seated here today, I'm sure, is thinking कि मेरे 3 mark भी नहीं आएंगे CAT में. कम से कम 2, 3, 4, 5 क्वेश्चन तो मैं हर सेक्शन में कर लूंगा. So I generally state that 50% of the people who are writing CAT are making up numbers. They're not all very serious. Many might be writing 26 इसलिए आ गए. Some are there because they are worried for some other reasons. I always have this pet joke that they state, यार मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड या गर्लफ्रेंड कैट लिखने जा रहा है, मैं रहूं गर्लफ्रेंड या बॉयफ्रेंड आफ्टर दैट तो मैं भी साथ में चले जाती हूँ, मेरे को स्ट्रेस है, मैं रहूंगा कि नहीं रहूंगा काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. सो आई शुड आल्सो गो राइट इट. My father has scolded me because my cousin has gotten into IIM Ahmedabad. I got 2 slaps, so I am forced to write CAT. Neighbor mein somebody cracked ABC, so I was then told, you also make something of your life. I was forced to go ahead and write it. So you will find some 40-50% of the janta writing CAT are making up numbers, and which is why we state generally your competition is with 50% of the janta out there. So now, like Akhil pointed out, say in a particular mock you score 50 percentile. Say there are 10,000 people, calculation easy karne ke liye, that means your rank is 5,000. Now, it is fair to assume you will be better than the 1.5 lakh people out of 3 lakh who are just making up numbers. So the remaining 1.5 lakh mein, you should be at 50 percentile again, agar if the mock is mimicking. That means your rank suddenly is 75,000 out of 3 lakh people, which is going to be close, slightly above 70 percentile. And that is why we state that mock में जो 50 होता है वो generally 70 के आसपास होता है. It will actually be close to about 73, 74, might even be 75. Similarly, 80 will move up, it will move to about 88 percentile. 70 will move up, it will go slightly higher, and so on and so forth. होता क्या है, as you keep rising up the ladder, you will see that growth falls. Say 95 moves to just 97, 98. 99 moves to just a 99.5. Why? Because those people who will end up scoring those highest percentiles are actually the ones who spend the money, who spend the time, who have enrolled in a couple of mock test series and are writing mock seriously. So Akhil, when people score a 99 percentile in mocks, more often than not, it is going to be those people itself who are going to be a competition at that higher end. That is why a 99 out of those 5,000 or 10,000 people generally doesn't translate to anything more than a 99.2, 99.3, 99.4 in the actual CAT. but a 50 or a 60 in your mock might actually translate to a 70 or an 80. So I hope this goes ahead and answers your question, Akhil. थोड़ा सा LR इसमें ले आए, थोड़ा सा DI इसमें ले आए, but the objective was that you go ahead and you understand what we were talking about. And I'll come back to the PPT. Apologies for taking a slight detour. Okay, let's get back. हाँ, ये क्वेश्चन काफी आ रहा है, स्लॉट 2 के लोगों के लिए क्या बोलना चाहते हो एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. सो ये क्वेश्चन है, एज अ स्लॉट 2 or 3 कैंडिडेट, हाउ शुड वन हैंडल द इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड and predictions that circulate? Yeah, Ravi.
See, every slot comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. This could either be psychological or biological. Nothing else. morning slot mein biologically you are going there with the freshest mind. Psychologically you are going there with the pressure ki mere ko pattern nahi pata kya hone wala hai. ठीक है. Second slot में you are taking the exam in the lunch time of SBI. भूख भी आ रही है, नींद भी आ रही है, and biologically, but yes, psychologically you know what to expect in the paper, pros and cons. Third slot में again it is there कि psychologically you know everything that is happened over the first couple of slots, you know exactly what to probably expect in the exam, but biologically you are at a slight disadvantage because आप सुबह से जागे होंगे, you may not go to the exam with the freshest mind, right? So at the end of the day, please understand one thing, scaling happens within people of your slot. ठीक है. सबसे पहले your comparison happens with people who have taken the exam in the same slot as you. So it actually doesn't matter which slot you are taking. वो slot सबके लिए same है. And then inter-slot scaling happens finally when the results get. Yeah. So how to deal with the information overload? Only thing, if I were you in a slot 2 or slot 3, serious aspirant, I would only think कि boss, अच्छा VARC में PJ आया है, OPJ आया है कि पैरा कंप्लीशन आया है, इतना पता कर लूं. DILR में 4-4-4 5-5 आए हैं कि DILR में 5-5 के 4 आए हैं या 4-4 के 5 आए हैं, वो पता कर लूं. और क्वांट में 22 ही आए हैं कि नहीं आए, ये पता कर लूं. एंड बिकॉज अगर स्लॉट 1 वाला बोला कि मेरे को गेम्स एंड टूर्नामेंट्स आ गया, तो स्लॉट 2 में नहीं आने वाला, जरूरी नहीं आएगा, राइट? तो डोंट गो इनटू द स्पेसिफिक्स ऑफ इट. व्हेन यू आर टेकिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन, टेक इट विद अ पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट. क्या लेना है क्या नहीं, बस इतना लेना है, पैटर्न में क्या बदला, कितना चेंज हुआ, ठीक है, अच्छा ओके, आई एम नाउ रेडी टू गो अहेड विद, ओके ठीक है, इतना कि पैरा कंप्लीशन नहीं आ रहा है, सेंटेंस प्लेसमेंट नहीं आ रहा है, पीजे बढ़ गए हैं, ठीक है, नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू लुक फॉर 3 पीजे क्वेश्चंस. दैट्स इट. That's the only information you should ideally take, nothing else. GB.
Yeah, so I see a lot of questions about what should I do, over the last 15 days in each of the respective sections. We'll pick that up. We've got 2 or 3 more questions, then we'll pick up all your questions. So please hold on, please don't worry. Before that, simple सा है, 1-2 चीजें मैं लेना चाहूंगा. I think paper pattern क्या है पता कर लो. It will be stupid on your part कि ना पता करना. So please confirm करके जाना कि क्या पेपर पैटर्न है. 4 ही सेट आ रहे हैं, 5 सेट आ रहे हैं, 4 ही RC आ रहे हैं कि बढ़ गया. Hypothetically say, I'm giving a very extreme example, होएगा नहीं. Say verbal में grammar आ गया, पता होना चाहिए ना, grammar आ गया. What is that? मतलब आ गया. Like Ravi said last year, a different type of question did come in, right? Sentence placement came in. People didn't know. It wasn't there in the sample paper either. So it could happen. So if something has changed, it makes sense that you get to know about it. Number 2, please don't get into any analysis. If you're a slot 2, slot 3 student, don't watch slot 1 analysis, don't watch slot 2 analysis. Please don't. No point. Why? Because उस analysis में हम लोग ही आके बोलेंगे लग रहा है 99 percentile होना चाहिए at 95. आप अपने मॉक में पेपर में घुसोगे, सडनली आप बोलोगे 95, 55 आने की ऑप्शन नहीं है, 95 की बात कर रहा था ये. और वो जो आपका जो भी आना होता है उसके वजह से you will end up scoring 10-15 marks lesser. Or the reverse, you might suddenly feel that the paper is going off well and you might become circumspect. ज्यादा अटेम्प्ट ना करूं, ये लोग ने तो बोला था 95 पे ही आ जाएगा 99, whereas you had the औकात of going to 115, but you became circumspect and started revising too many things, thinking नहीं मैं ज्यादा कर लूंगा तो silly mistakes हो जाए, and your slot turned out to be easy. Anything could happen. So please don't listen to us. Do not listen to us. I'm categorically adding that caveat. if you want me to make it even clear. If you're a slot 2 guy, don't watch us in a slot 1 analysis. If you're a slot 3 guy, don't watch us in a slot 1 or slot 2. Watch us in your respective analysis. If you're a slot 1 guy, you're free to watch a slot 2, slot 3 analysis to know कि आपका paper कैसा गया vis-a-vis the other slots in terms of level of difficulty. But the other slots don't do it. Other than that, please.
Yeah, GB, I think we will be doing first insights and then probably we will be doing
first impressions we'll do.
First impressions you can see because it will tell overall pattern तक ही overall हम moderate difficult ऐसा कुछ बोल देंगे, but we will not be probably
we don't get into percentiles there. We just first impression is generally a 5-10 minute thingy जहाँ हम पेपर पैटर्न बोलते हैं, ओवरऑल LOD कैसा लग रहा है एंड क्या एक दो चीजें आपको दिमाग में रखनी चाहिए अगर आपने देख लिया टाइप्स. अगर आपके स्लॉट में भी ऐसा आ गया तो ऐसे कर लेना, अगर नहीं आया तो मत करना, एज सिंपल एज दैट. ठीक है, सो दैट्स द ओनली थिंग दैट यू शुड लुक एट. प्लीज डोंट गेट इनटू अदर एस्पेक्ट्स एंड फॉरगेट us. Don't listen to what anybody else on any other YouTube channel is also stating. My recommendation, and I hope all other faculty and all other teachers across different channels would be stating the same. Please don't get into an analysis. Please don't get overworked. Just focus on the paper that you're going to go ahead and attempt. बाद में आके जितना कुछ देखना है, जो देखना है देख लेना 1-2 दिन, बट जाने से पहले प्लीज वो ज्यादा मत करना. And I urge all other faculty, all other channels, I'm sure they'll be doing it, to do the same and to urge students not to watch something views के चक्कर में. I don't think it is going to be beneficial for students.
Also, I think someone some time ago, someone was asking कि if I get to know कि paper 1 में कैसा आया, paper 1 में कैसा आया, while going in those 30 to 40 minutes I may have as buffer for paper 2, should I revise something or do something, study something? I don't think it will add a huge value at that point. Because
मतलब I'll tell you what, hypothetically Ravi से पता चल गया preposition grammar में आया है, ठीक है, you might want to spend 10 minutes to have a look on in कब आता है, upon का करना है 10 मिनट कर लो, because there'll be nothing to lose. But I am talking about the most extreme possible example here to drive home a point. उसके अलावा अगर कुछ आया तो मत करना, मतलब ग्रामर आया नहीं है कैट में for over 10 years.
But yes, एक चीज कर सकते हो, अगर आपके पास कोई न्यूज़पेपर है, ऐसा कुछ है कागज, तो जस्ट एग्जाम हॉल में जाने से पहले थोड़ा थोड़ा ऐसा पढ़ना, एक रीडिंग मोमेंटम स्लाइटली आपने अगर बना लिया हो, दो after entering into the hall there will be a 30-minute pause before the actual exam starts. Actual exam start होने के पहले ना, you get a golden window when you can read the instructions. Read the instructions as if you are reading an RC. You will get that momentum of reading on screen. Then your VRC first question itself, you'll start with momentum. ठीक है, use that scope.
Perfect. I'll pick up a couple of questions. LRDI, objective of this question, Ravi could be answering Juhi's question and also giving suggestions with respect to LRDI. I think we can do that for each of the 3 sections. That might be the best way of doing it.
LRDI score is going very down. In VA, it is better now. What to do? Done with the PYQ of algebra and geometry. See, I think Juhi, if DILR score is going down, the data here in your question is insufficient for me to answer. Why is it going down? I mean, in the sense कि is there a conceptual gap or is there an execution gap? मतलब paper के बाद are you able to solve all 4 or 5 of the sets, or even after the exam you are requiring external help? Then if you are requiring external help for 2 or 3 sets even after the exam, then I think you are at that stage where conceptually you might be sound in 3 or 4 or 5 different topics which are your comfort zone, right? Try to pick those kind of questions only in the exam. Typically, one set of DI and one set of arrangement, I think you can see in every paper. So at least if you are good at those things, pick those. But if your problem is the other thing, so Juhi is saying after the mock I get 2 and 3 sets only, right? So if you are not at that stage where you can independently solve all 5 sets, then don't bother much about your strategy. Try to spend more time if required on set selection and pick those 2 or 3 sets, well, 2 or 2.5 sets that you would want to solve in the exam, jisme you try to at least get that sectional cutoffs of 6 questions, 7 questions, 8 questions. Your first goal should be, I should be able to get 6 questions, then 7, then move to the 7th one, then 8th one. Don't think of solving 4 sets in the exam. वो लेके मत जाना. If अभी तक आप 2 सेट ही कर पा रहे हो या एक ही सेट कर पा रहे हो, tell yourself कि sectional cutoff पहले निकालना है, उसके बाद बाकी का जो होगा वो देखा जाएगा, right? Because there might be some lacuna in your concept. The other thing you can do is try to solve all PYQs of the last 4 or 5 years at least and see if there is a conceptual gap and go back and revise that concept. Don't work on concepts pura abhi and then go for questions. No, questions solve karte jao, जो बनते जा रहा है वो आपको आते जा रहा है, वो आपके माइंड में बैठ गया है. जो नहीं बन रहा है, some kind of questions that you are conceptually stuck on, go revisit that concept for 30 minutes, see how those questions are solved, come back, try to solve it again. But at least I would suggest last 5 years ke PYQs, if you have time, take time and solve for DILR again.
Yeah, so couple of records, Juhi, something which I stated earlier as well. If you're stating कि analysis करने के time में कर पा रही हूँ 2-3 set, अभी नहीं कर पा रही and all. Sometimes it also boils down to stress, right? That during analysis you're stress free, no कोई tension नहीं है जिंदगी में, बहुत आराम से पढ़ लिया, जाके solve कर लिया. Whereas in the mock there is always stress. So I think one thing to do is, and like I stated earlier, just practice simulation, which means DILR verbal के बात करो, VRC के बात, Quant को DILR के बात करो, थोड़ा देखो practice में वो क्या हो रहा है. You might realize in practice also then वो 2-3 set शायद नहीं हो रहे हो, but वो 10-15 दिन बाद शायद वो हो जाएंगे. So I think that is one thing that you should look at, because that generally showcases a gap between Aukat score and what I actually get. There's this concept that Jijo and GP always talk about. So that will be one. Second thing would be like Ravi stated, information एक और जो lacking है वो ये है, score घट रहा है क्या percentile सेम है, अगर वो है तब तो level of difficulty of mock भी important है ना. So rather than score, I would also want to have a look at what your percentile is. If the percentile is more or less in the same bracket, then you're basically scoring almost the same. There's no real fall. The LOD has just gone up and down. So just look at that. So yeah, Juhi is once again saying, sir, only score is 6 to 10. Okay. Score is 6 to 10, then is an issue, right? Score is 6 to 10 basically means एक set भी नहीं हो रहा है मेरे से. So this is one of those examples which I was talking about earlier, wherein if you've been using Ravi's strategy, shift to mine. If you've been using mine, shift to Ravi's, because there's nothing to lose in this case. 6 to 10 अगर आ रहा है, वैसे भी sectional नहीं होने वाला है, तो आपको कुछ तो change करना होगा, थोड़ा drastic करना होगा, and 15 दिन है. So just see which strategy suits you better, Ravi's or mine, whichever it is. Go ahead, utilize, put it into practice, see कितना आप कर सकते हो, because you're actually in a safe zone. इससे बुरा भी जाएगा तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, सेम आएगा तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, फर्क खाली तब पड़ेगा अगर बढ़ेगा. If you remain the same or go lower, you're not getting any call. You're only getting a call if it increases. So there is absolutely nothing to lose. It is almost like that sort of a situation, nothing to lose sort of a situation hai. So put in everything, look at the 2-3 different ways in which we go about it. GP थोड़े अलग वैसे करते हैं, उनके जुगाड़ वीडियोस देखोगे थोड़ा बहुत पता चलेगा. So look at how we go about it and go basis that. Okay.
I think one more point I would like to add here, for anyone who is scoring less than 15 consistently in DILR, okay, here what you can essentially look at is, one is, as GV sir suggested, you could relook at your strategy, what you are following. But there's one thing I'll tell you, you may have been actually ending up picking 1 or 2 types of sets from the exam, thinking about familiarity again. I would say, see, if there is a question in CAT which asks you about run rate in a cricket based set, they must define what run rate is. They can't assume that all 150 crore Indians are watching cricket and follow cricket religiously. 2017 चेस का सेट आया था, रानी 8 दिशा में जा सकती है लिखा था. So everything that you need to be able to answer that question is given in the setup and it's given in the data. So go for the kill and think that you will attempt a set agnostic of the topic of it. बिकॉज अगर आपके माइंड में ये चीज का टैबू है कि ये गेम से आया मैं नहीं करूंगा, सेट थियरी से आया मैं नहीं करूंगी, ऐसा नहीं होता. कैट में एवरीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड टू सॉल्व दैट इज गिवन देयर. Barring there are some basic concepts that you should know, especially DI में you should know calculations, percentage, average, weighted average कहाँ यूज होना चाहिए, वो सब चीज पता होना चाहिए. बाकी अदरवाइज मिसिंग डेटा में तो जो भी चाहिए आपको वहां पे दिया होता है. मिसिंग डेटा टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस में प्राइम नंबर्स क्या है वो पता होना चाहिए, इवन नंबर क्या है पता होना चाहिए, और ऑड नंबर क्या है पता होना चाहिए, राइट? सो try solving those kind of questions also. Maybe take 1 or 2 sectionals and try a different strategy and see what kind of thing is working for you better than what your scores are currently, right? So because anyway, if you're scoring 5 marks or you're scoring 0, it's not going to matter much because you are not going to clear the sectional cutoff at that score. You have to go for the kill. You have, as GB sir suggested, you have to drastically take a step something, right? So why not get into those things also that you were always afraid of? देखो एक बार करके, एक आध दो सेक्शनल में ट्राई करके देखो, चल गया, then you can implement it.
Absolutely. And DILR, I think over the course of the last 10-12 days, obviously mocks is going to form the core of your preparation going forward, core of your practice. 2 to 3 things. I hope you've bookmarked some important sets that you have gone through over the course of your preparation. Go through those, go through some of those important sets. I hope you've gone ahead and also made certain notes. जब आप जीपी का कभी कोई सोल्यूशन देख रहे थे, या रवि का कोई सोल्यूशन देख रहे थे, या किसी का भी कोई सोल्यूशन देख रहे थे, कोई एक न्यूआंस किसी ने दिया होगा, दैट ऑलवेज कीप दिस इन माइंड, और समथिंग लाइक दिस हैपेंस. और ऐसे काइंड ऑफ सेट्स में इस वे से सोचा करो, टेबल को इस वे से बनाया करो, ऐसे इंटरप्रेट किया करो, इस ऐसी लाइंस को ऐसे इंटरप्रेट करते हैं. समटाइम्स कॉम्प्रिहेंशन बिकम्स एन इशू in LRDI, and we point out interpretation is important. So I hope you've made your notes. So go revisit that. That has to be the core of your preparation and strategy. It's not अब हम बोलेंगे जाके Venn diagram पढ़ो, games and tournaments पढ़ो, arrangements पढ़ो. अब वो पढ़ने का टाइम है नहीं. You've gone ahead and you've done it already, but I hope you've made your notes. Please revisit those. You bookmark questions, please revisit those. Don't overdo anything. You've got roughly about 2 weeks is the way I put it, from now the 27th. 28th 29th को कुछ नहीं करोगे, chill मारना जिंदगी में, please. So you've got 2 weeks. One mock every alternate day is the maximum that you can do, maximum. So that's 7. Now, I'm sure many of you all will have an NMAT or a SNAP right after as well. So you might need to do 1 or 2 mocks abhi se leke, at least over the next 5-7 days related to those. So you might not even be able to do 7 CAT mocks. It might be 5. That's okay. Don't go overboard. Stick to that. Focus on it. But uske saath for each of your sections, I hope you have made notes. Please revisit. If not, I hope your friend has made notes. Please take it. If not, I hope you bookmark sets. Please have a look at that. That's all that I would recommend. अगर उसके बाद भी you're going to state, sir, नहीं, मेरे को और कुछ बताओ, मेरे को क्या करना है, then the only thing that I would state is थोड़ा क्रिकेट देख लो, थोड़े और कुछ अगर होता है मीन्स ऑफ रिलैक्सेशन जो आपका माइंड इससे निकाले कि मेरे को और कुछ करना है, बिकॉज बियॉन्ड द पॉइंट देयर इज नथिंग एडिशनल दैट यू शुड डू एंड यू कैन डू. There is no magic wand or magic pill that is suddenly going to change things in 14 days. It's not that आज तक मेरे से नहीं हुआ तो अब next 14 दिन में मैं ये 4 टॉपिक suddenly समझ लूंगा. So I'm guessing you've already put your best foot forward and tried hard. Whatever you've done is good enough. Focus on your areas of strengths and trust in your ability that I'll be able to go ahead and do it. But you still have 14 days. Take those mocks. Go through those notes that you've made. Hopefully that will help you. Ravi, I'll do the same. I'll pick up Quant abhi. DILR tha, so Quant maybe. The question starts with a time management issue. So you can address Unnat's specific question and then probably generalize it a little to what should students do with respect to Quant over the last 2 weeks.
So I think Conceptually, you should go for revision in the last 2 weeks. But yes, Unnat, to answer your question, time management issue, specifically in quant. See, again, this is not probably a very good time to change your strategy for DILR. But yes, quant may, I think, because you are going question after question, there is a scope that आप थोड़ा सा उसको tweak करो, right? So if you are going question after question and marking them round 1, round 2, round 3 right now, and if that, I mean, that judgment of selecting a question in round 1, thinking that it will be done in a couple of, you can do it in a couple of minutes, is not working out for you right now, I would say break the section into 4 parts of 10 questions each and look at it. 4 parts of 10 minutes each. First 10 minutes, you only look at the first 5 questions. Forget about everything else. First 10 minutes, first 2 minutes, you go through the first 5 questions. Pick the 2 that you want to solve. Pick the 2 that you want to solve. Right? Because you are doing 5 to 6 questions before the time runs out. By doing this, you can probably solve 8 to 10. Pick the 2. बस 2 ही करना है पहले 2 मिनट, पहले 10 मिनट में ये टारगेट लेके चल लो, ठीक है? पहले 5 में 2 करने हैं. Then next 10 minutes, you only look at questions 6 to 10 in the question paper button. Go through all of those questions, pick 2 from it. Then next 10 minutes, 31 to 40, 21 to 30, go to the next 6 questions, pick 2 or 3 that you can solve. By that time, you would have built momentum to close another 2 to 3 questions in the next one. Forget about round 2 and round 3. You only try to figure out what are those round 1 questions. 2 out of 5 round 1 questions out of every group of 5 in a 10-minute slot. Break it down into 10 minutes. That could be a good practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think spot on. I will probably add 1 or 2 things more with respect to quant specifically. Quant is going to be one of those areas where people like me who hate geometry, I'm sure there are a lot more out there who would say मैंने geometry नहीं किया, मैंने arithmetic algebra काफी किया है. यार geometry की एक अच्छी बात है, even if you've not done it, this is probably a nice time to go and have a look at that CL formula PDF. उससे कॉपी करो और थोड़े ना 5, 10, 15 फॉर्मूले मग कर लो. इफ यू गेट अ डायरेक्ट एप्लीकेशन ऑफ अपोलोनियस थ्योरम, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज, पर अगर डायरेक्ट एप्लीकेशन आ रहा है, सब्स्टिट्यूट एंड पुट इट एंड डू इट ना यार, जस्ट डू इट. एंड ज्योमेट्री की खास बात यह है कि 1-2 क्वेश्चन हमेशा उठ के आते हैं जो डायरेक्ट होते हैं, जिसमें ज्यादा कुछ नहीं करना होता. देयर आर 4-5 क्वेश्चंस, 1 or 2 विल बी डायरेक्ट, नथिंग, नो थिंकिंग involved. There's a simple formula in place, you do it. So quant is one place where I would say a formula book. I am not one of those who's too much into mugging. If you attended my classes, you know, मैं numbers में भी जब पढ़ाता हूँ, I don't go into any theorem. I try to derive things because I am very bad when it comes to memory. So I don't believe in it. But geometry is one place where I state area of triangle निकालने के सारे फॉर्मूले आते हैं कि नहीं. Half base into height, half AB sin theta, root over S into S minus A into S minus B into S minus C, ABC by 4R, S into R, ये सब आना होगा. Because you don't know. What if they give you the all sides and they give you the in radius? All sides of a triangle and the in radius is there. यार S into R होता है, पता होना चाहिए ना. Direct application हो गया ना. So these are a couple of places where I think just mug up certain formula. Even if you've not done that topic, you can do it. You know, I give you a simple question. 7 to the power of 23 by 3 का रिमाइंडर निकालो. अब मैं बोलूंगा 7 to the power of 1 by 3 का रिमाइंडर 1 होता है, 7 squared by 3 का रिमाइंडर 1 होता है, 7 cube by 3 का रिमाइंडर 1 आ रहा है, 7 to the power of anything 1 का रिमाइंडर by 3 1 आ रहा है, तो 7 to the power of 23 by 3 का भी 1 आ रहा होगा. मैंने रिमाइंडर्स नहीं पढ़ा should not be an excuse that you should get into. So this is the good thing about quant. You know, like Ravi was stating, quant में LRDI की तरह मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा स्ट्रैटेजी मत चेंज करो. I'll agree with him because quant में क्या होने वाला है, even from areas which you've not studied, if you are willing to keep your eyes open and if you're willing to mug up a couple of formulae before going in, you might I would say you'll be surprised, but you might realize that there are some 2 or 3 questions you are able to do even from topics that you've not studied. So I think Quant ke andar over the next 15 days, you still have the opportunity of picking it up by another 2 or 3 questions by doing some of this. Second, in case you're one of those जो ज़्यादा attempt नहीं कर पा रहे in Quant, accuracy पे focus करो. अगर वैसे भी ज़्यादा attempt नहीं हो रहा, अगर मैं 6 attempt कर रहा हूँ, why can't I get all 6 correct? That's a very difficult task to do. But if over the last 6 months I've not been able to move even from 6 attempts to 7 attempts, over the next 15 days also you won't be able to move from 6 to 7. हम जो भी बोल ले. So the one thing that you could probably operate on is जो मैं 6 question कर रहा हूँ, अगर per question 5 से 6 मिनट लगा रहा हूँ, तो 5 से 6 मिनट 30 seconds और लगा के रिवाइज भी कर लूँ, ताकि वो क्वेश्चन जो अटेम्प्ट कर रहा हूँ एटलीस्ट वो तो सही हो. सो these will be the only 1 or 2 things that I will add with respect to Quant, and with respect to what you can do over the course of the last 15 days with respect to Quant in terms of having that formula book, and similarly having that bookmarked questions that you hopefully have had a look at. Ek last cheez which I will add is, I don't know how many of you all are aware of it and how many use it. Drill down analysis एक tab होता है. वो drill down analysis is actually, I think, one of the best tools that CL has. If you actually go deep into it, I might feel, oh, मैं तो time speed distance का एकदम stud इंसान हूँ. और drill down analysis में मैं जब 4 mocks last के उठाता हूँ, मैं देखता हूँ TSD के आए हैं 5 question, attempt is 2, correct is 1. That is giving me a realistic picture of actually how I am with respect to TSD when 20 questions across different topics come in, vis-a-vis when you give me 10 questions of only TSD to solve. So that will give you a realistic picture also, and will probably help you solidify your strategy and solidify your understanding of what I am actually good at in Quant. So my recommendation, if you haven't already, please have a look at that as well. So yeah,
in
that
general,
is it.
in general, 1 point, GB.
Yeah, please.
It is more important to know what your weaknesses are than knowing what your strengths are.
Always.
It's more important to know which ball to leave. If there is a good ball and you have not scored off it, it's okay. ठीक है, misses होते हैं. But if it's a bad ball and you जबरदस्ती went behind it, then it can cost a wicket. So weakness क्या है वो पता करना बहुत जरूरी है. So that's where I think drill down analysis is a great tool. See, I for example, GB, I love solving questions of profit, loss, and discount. But in the last 6 odd attempts of my CAT, I might have only attempted profit loss का question twice. Because paper में question difficult आया, मैं क्या करूँ यार?
Difficult आ गया. Correct.
I chose to attempt another question in place of that. Right. So you might feel that you are very good at a particular topic, but अगर उसमें से पेपर में क्वेश्चन डिफिकल्ट आ गया तो ऐसा भगवान बनने की कोशिश मत करो कि मेरे को सब आता है. ईगो पे मत लो. बेसिकली दैट मेरे को तो आना चाहिए टाइम स्पीड का क्वेश्चन या टाइम एंड वर्क का क्वेश्चन. समटाइम्स कैट 2018 में एक टाइम एंड वर्क का बहुत खराब क्वेश्चन आया था. दैट वाज द ओनली टाइम आई फेल्ट अनकंफर्टेबल सॉल्विंग अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ टाइम एंड वर्क. इवेंचुअली आई वाज एबल टू सॉल्व इट, बट ईगो पे ले लोगे तो you will end up spending more time than you would otherwise naturally spend to either solve or leave a question.
Correct. So I think the question on the screen is also kind of answered by our last couple of questions with respect to Quant and DILR. We already discussed the time slot, so I'll move ahead. Yeah, Ravi. My mind just isn't cooperating. I try to study, but I end up scrolling. My focus is completely missing. It feels like a cycle of self-sabotage that I can't break.
I think it's a problem of priorities. See, अगर कोई चीज आपको तहे दिल से चाहिए तो फिर आपको कायनात तो उसके लगेगी, पहले खुद को लगना पड़ेगा. Right? In that sense, if you have not told yourself और अपने माइंड को आपने ये ट्रेन नहीं किया है कि मेरे को ये चाहिए, आई वांट दिस, जिद नहीं है आप में, तो मुश्किल है बॉस. जिसके पास वो जिद होती है ना, वो ट्राई डेफिनेटली करेगा. उसका रिजल्ट हमेशा आएगा, उसकी गारंटी नहीं है, बट ही विल ट्राई हिज बेस्ट. सो doom scrolling instead of doing that means you are just taking you might not be taking preparation that seriously, though you might, but because you are not taking preparations seriously, you are doing something else, and you might be thinking कि मैं अभी stress में हूँ. It is high time you set your priorities right. I think it's a prioritization problem. For example, मतलब मैं फिल्म देखने जा सकता हूँ या फिर DILR का वीडियो सॉल्यूशन रिकॉर्ड कर सकता हूँ. मेरी फैमिली के साथ फिल्म देखने जाना, उस मोमेंट पे मेरे को क्या इम्पोर्टेंट है उसको मैं प्रायोरिटाइज करूंगा. और मैं हमेशा रिकॉर्डिंग्स टाइम से डाल दिया हूँ, तो यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम sacrificing.
Hinting at.
What must do.
Perfect. So probably I'll pick up last 2 or 3 questions. इसमें से verbal वाला उठा लेते हैं. हम लोग ने quant and DLR बात कर लिया. Verbal from 2 people, at least for me, it's not an area of strength. My way of approaching verbal is probably a little weird, but okay. So my VARC score has gone down in the last few mocks. Mainly RC has struggled between 2 close options and end up making. Who doesn't? Is my only thing. Who doesn't struggle in RCs between 2 close options? I'm sure if there are 100 odd people in the chat right now, उस 100 में 98, 99 बोल रहे होंगे हाँ मेरे साथ भी होता है. I struggle between 2 close options. मेरे साथ भी होता है that I struggle between 2 close options. I don't have a definitive answer to this, but there are 2 things which I generally personally like to do in VARC, which I will point out, and then I'll pass it on to Ravi. मेरा एक होता था, I always and I still see this, people don't like to break up RCs into type of questions, but I like to do it, and I see that there is something called factual questions or questions जिसका answer directly passage से निकला होता है. Copy paste questions is what I call them. And generally out of 16 questions you will find there are 5 or 6 questions. Each RC में 1-2 question होते हैं जो directly passage से उठे होते हैं. Now होता क्या है generally in those questions, more often than not you will find that people get confused between 2 options. Why? There are 2 things they do. They read the passage, they come to the question पढ़ा, question पढ़ के बोलते हैं हाँ ये passage में कहीं पढ़ा है, वापस passage में जाते हैं, scroll करते हैं, third paragraph read करते हैं, वापस passage question पे जाते हैं, question को read करते हैं, अच्छा ये 2 गलत है, ये 2 बाकी है. अब इन 2 sentences को पढ़ा, वापस passage पे गए और उन दोनों sentence में कुछ अलग समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, what is the difference? So generally, in order to avoid something like this, what I wanted to focus on was, I wanted to focus a little bit on my memory. Ki when a factual question comes in, I do not have the urge and the need and the want to go back to the passage. So what I used to do is, each time I was reading a passage from Aeon or NYT or Hindu or whatever, मैं उसको read करता था, मेरे को लगते थे around 3.5-4 minutes. After that, I would give it to somebody, either a friend or my mother or whoever, sibling, whoever was there, and I would say, आप लोग भी read करो. Now ask me factual questions from there. Ask me, और मैं memory से answer करूँगा. So I used to test myself on that, stating कि मैं वैसे भी अच्छा नहीं हूँ और मेरे को एक RC के साथ जो personal problem होती है वो ये होती है, interpretation according to me when it comes to literature is up to the person who's reading it. I am from that school of thought that there is no fixed interpretation in whatever I read. So if an author has written something, I can interpret it in my way and there is nothing wrong in it. There is no wrong answer. You might not agree with it, but it's not wrong. So I come from that school of thought. Hence, I've always had this problem कि मैं गलत क्यों? ये गलत नहीं है, मैंने ऐसे सोचा. So अब उसके में I can't go and have a झगड़ा with cat or with the author or anything. So factual question में तो कुछ है ही नहीं bias, सब जो लिखा है वही होना है. So उनके लिए मैं ये करता था, to ensure that I do well in those questions. And then I used to focus a lot on the verbal logic part, which is critical reasoning and specifically the sentence placement. So for me, the RC paper, the verbal paper used to be these 10-12 questions. Ki in 10-12 questions mein 5-6 of factual and the 4-5 that will come in verbal here. In 10-12 questions mein I want an 80% accuracy, 80-85%. बाकी के जो 10 क्वेश्चन हैं, से मैं 20 अगर अटेम्प्ट कर रहा हूं, उसमें मेरे को 50% एक्यूरेसी भी चलेगा. सो इफ यू लुक एट द मार्क्स, यहाँ पे मेरे को 24 - 2 हुआ 22, वहां पे मेरे को 15 - 3 4 हुआ होगा 11. I will still end up scoring close to about a 34-35 marks, which is surely going to be a 96-97 in verbal in a section which is not my area of strength. So I used to always look at it like that. So for me, verbal is approached like that. So I will pass it on to Ravi. Close option होंगे, memory के basis में if you can do something great, extremism के basis में if you can do something great, जीजो की doodling के basis में if you can do something great. But उसके बावजूद also if you're going to ask कि मेरे को क्या करना है, I will always state focus on what you know are your areas of strength. And like Ravi stated, I knew my areas of weaknesses were everything other than the 2-3 things that I pointed out, and I didn't care a damn about those area of weaknesses. पता था उसमें 40-50% accuracy होगी, area of strength में मचाएंगे. क्या रवि?
I think one thing you can avoid doing, I can't also answer what you should do. One thing you can avoid doing is, unless when you look at the 4 options after reading the question, after having read the RC, doodling, whatever you have done, you have understood it. After that, 1 out of the 4 options आपके दिल को अच्छा लगने लगता है. Most likely वही आंसर होता है. But if you are confused between 2 options, it's a very high risk game for me. I feel if you're confused, that means you are not, if you are not able to eliminate all the 3 options, I would suggest don't take that risk here. Instead, spend that extra minute in that parajumble question जिसमें अगर आप risk ले भी लिए तो you will not get a negative mark. So if you can't improve on your positive marks, at least try to not, I mean, you know, see, people say कि मेरे को नेगेटिव मार्क्स कम करना है. अब मेरे को अगर पता होता कि मैं गलत आंसर मार्क कर रहा हूँ तो मैं मार्क करता नहीं करता ना. तो इट्स अ पैराडॉक्सिकल स्टेटमेंट कि मेरे को नेगेटिव मार्क्स कम करना है. वो ऐसा नहीं होता है. How can you actually reduce negative marks is whenever you are confused, you're sure you mark it. Your answer may or may not be correct, but if you are sure that आपको C लग रहा है तो वो C ही होगा. उसके बाद वापस आप पैसेज पढ़ के वापस आके B नहीं मार्क करने वाले. आपको पहली बार में C लगा क्योंकि आप पढ़ के आए हो ना, तो आप C ही मार्क करोगे बाद में भी. बट अगर आप B और C में कंफ्यूज्ड है, then don't attempt that question. It's okay to attempt 3 questions out of 4 or 2 questions out of 4 even after you have spent 7-8 minutes on RC. Unnecessarily attempt mat karna if you are not sure about your answer.
Perfect. So last 1 or 2 questions, I think. Okay, we've spoken about VARC. I think I will move ahead. So before that, I'll probably just pick up 1 or 2 more questions, Ravi, and then we can wrap it up. ये एक था जो मेरे को पता था कोई ना कोई तो पूछेगा. It had to come. I'm writing 1 mock a day now. Should I? Shouldn't I? Your take, Ravi.
Daily 1 mock and 1 analysis. If you are working professional, if you have quit right now, then I think you have time. Otherwise, you might not have. If you are still working and you are still doing 1 mock and 1 analysis a day, then you are not doing it right. Essentially, because a 2-hour mock will require a good 4 to 6 hour analysis minimum आज के time पे भी. So daily 1 mock लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. I think Arts was also stating it that 2 to 3 mocks, 4 mocks at best is good enough in the last 15 days, because you would not want to if your strategy is fixed and consistently आप उस strategy से वो range of scores पे कहीं आ रहे हो, then I don't think it makes sense to take too many mocks. Instead, open the mocks, submit them, and directly solve questions after that.
Correct. I agree. Don't overdo it for sure. मेरे को इसमें हमेशा 2003 वर्ल्ड कप सचिन तेंदुलकर का वो याद आता है. If you've read his autobiography, he very categorically stated in that entire World Cup, he did not practice even once. Not even 1 practice session. He stated, I am in form. मेरे को फॉर्म प्रैक्टिस सेशन में वेस्ट नहीं करना है. प्रैक्टिस सेशन में जाऊंगा, 50 बॉल खेलूंगा, मिडल ऑफ द बैट लगेगा, कभी ना कभी लॉ ऑफ एवरेजेस से वो एज लेना है, एज मैच मिलेगा. So don't overdo it. Don't get too burdened with it, and then law of averages में the worst day happens on the day of the exam. You don't want that to happen. So even I would agree कि उतना मत करो. Authentic is saying I was doing good till now. Last 2 days felt blank when I was taking full length mocks. I think I'm exhausted. What should I do to recover fast? Take 2 to 3 days off. Don't do anything. कल 14th 15th को कुछ मत लो. 16th को जाके take an offline mock. Take the on your screen. अभी तक लिया नहीं है तो स्कैन करो. Take the mock at external location like a cat mock. See मैं अभी कहाँ बैठा हूँ, मेरा क्या है, and then look at your last 10-day strategy. Take 2 days off. You need a break. I was just giving an example of you don't want to be in a situation where you're exhausted. You don't want that to happen on the day of the exam. So this is the right time to go ahead and just take a break from it. And probably one last
I think there was
question
one
that I'm going
question
to take.
Aman has posted multiple times.
Yeah, I was just about to put that itself. Stuck between 85 to 90 consistently. How to improve accuracy, sir? Met you in RT 99 Jamshedpur. Ravi, I think he's talking to you. And you were fantastic with your fundamentals. Well done, Ravi.
Thank you, Aman. ठीक है. Between 85 to 90%. First of all, what is your percentile? What is your percentile in the mocks? Doesn't matter to you. Doesn't matter to me. Honestly, even your overall score doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to you either. Your overall score is a function of your individual sectional scores. So ask yourself whether you have that capacity to first get that 25 marks in VRC, 25-27 marks in VRC का capacity है, 24-25 marks in Quant का capacity है, और 20 marks in DILR का capacity है क्या? अगर ये तीनों है, तो overall 70 का capacity है. Overall 70 marks का capacity है, तो overall 90 plus percentile का capacity आपको है. Overall score एक mock का जब आप लेके you look at the overall percentile and analyze it. In that particular mock you could मतलब अलग अलग mocks में अलग अलग section थोड़ा sabotage हुआ रहेगा. उसके वजह से भी कई बार ऐसा होता है कि we look at okay 50-54 is your overall score, but has there been any instance, Aman, where VRC में you have scored more than 25? If there is, then there is that capacity within you, right? So whatever is in the past is in the past. You don't carry that baggage. Think forward कि अच्छा मैं 25 marks in VRC, 27 marks in VRC, that means 12 questions attempt, 10 सही 3 गलत, 13 questions attempt, 10 सही 3 गलत में भी I should get those 27 marks. Similarly, you go to DILR, you look at 20 marks as your primary target. Quant, you go to 25 marks as your primary target. When you look at this,
I think what Aman is stating, Ravi, is average of 16 in VRC, 9 in DLR, and 29 in Quant. I think Quant is doing quite well.
Average is average is the most random metric I have ever seen, GB, honestly. Average doesn't explain anything in my mind.
I think what he's trying to say is more often than not, he's in that range. He's generally doing decently in Quant.
In that range. So if you are at 16, just look at VRC में what is going wrong. 16, are you getting, are you attempting 1.5 RC? Or are you attempting not enough questions in VA? What are you attempting for? Are you attempting for only 24 marks? If you want to get 24 marks, you can't be attempting 24 marks in VRC. VRC is not a section in which you can assume to get 100% accuracy. So if your goal is to reach to that sectional percentile cutoff level and beyond 25 marks agar lana hai, then you will have to be in a position where you are attempting 14 questions. 10 सही 4 गलत में पहुंचोगे वहां पे at the end of the day. So 2 RC and 5-6 VA, right? You are already limiting it to that 40 mark attempt, 30, 39, 40 mark attempt. So yeah. If you are making, if RC में कुछ गलत हो जाते हैं, 1-2 गलत हो जाते हैं, add to that negative marks, what you had assumed to be a +3 becomes a -1. So actually 4 less than what you are expecting out of it will only add to the pressure. I think, Aman, there is enough time in the exam to at least solve 3 RCs and VA. Okay. So look at what is causing you to spend 15 minutes in an, if you're solving 2 RCs and 5 to 6 VA questions, I can probably assume that you are spending 13-14 minutes per RC in the exam. That means you might either be taking a huge time in reading, or you might be taking a huge time in answering questions. If you're taking larger time is in reading, then you should not ideally take larger time in answering question. If you're going slow in reading, then you're noting down everything, comprehension बराबर हो रहा है, उसके बाद question answer करने के लिए again if you are going back to read the RC and come back to answer, then I think that is the thing that you should avoid. I would suggest RC section के लिए at least the next time you take a mock, put a camera by the side, forget that there is a camera there, record your own attempt and see कि आप वो 40 मिनट में कहाँ टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो. आप टाइम एनालिसिस देखोगे मॉक देने के बाद, उसमें आपको, क्योंकि आरसी में क्या है, पूरा पैसेज यू विल ऑलवेज सी दैट द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टेक्स 12 मिनट्स और फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन 9 मिनट्स ले रहे हैं, अगला क्वेश्चन 30 सेकंड्स में हो गया या 1 मिनट में हो गया. इट विल नॉट गिव यू अ ट्रू पिक्चर ऑफ इट. सो इन the next mock you are taking or a next sectional of VRC you are taking, I would suggest you just record your attempt and try to understand, right? Otherwise, I think you have my number also. We can connect offline also, right? Let's have a deeper discussion on this if required.
So the last question, yeah, I think common hoga logo mein. I'm a morning person. What should I do to change my body clock? The evening slot, unable to cope with this. Yeah, a morning person generally is not sleeping at 6 or 7 in the evening. They're generally sleeping about 9, 10 in the evening. So 4 or 5, 4 to 4:30 to 6:30 mein I'm hoping कि ज़्यादा stress नहीं होगा. But in case there is still something that you can go ahead and do is at least over the course of the next 14 to 15 days ensure that 4:30 to 6:30 का जो time slot है ना, and I would generally state कि वो 3:30 से लेके 6:30 का जो time slot है उसमें कुछ करो. Start working, start solving, working, aptitude oriented, where the brain is working. Brain is forced to go ahead and do something. Do that for 3 hours every day. Don't do 4:30 to 6:30. Do 3:30 to 6:30. Get your brain to start doing that. That's the only thing you can do. You should ideally not be sleepy, because a morning person is surely not sleepy within 12 hours of getting up. Even if you get up at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning, you shouldn't be sleepy by 5, 6 in the evening. So the only reco that I could give is this. The second is, if you're a morning person and you know ki 4:30 hai, nobody is stopping you from sleeping at around from 11 to 1 again in the afternoon. 11 to 1 solo.
Again.
Yeah, wake up as if it's a fresh day ना. I'm a morning person now. 11 to 1 solo. तुम 4:30-5 बजे उठते, 8:30 के स्लॉट में जाते, वो 3-4 घंटे बाद ही होता. 1 o'clock उठोगे, 3 घंटे बाद ही आपका 4:30 का स्लॉट है. So you can do that as well. Don't change your body clock. Just sleep for additional 2 hours. Do something like that. That might be something that might work in your favor. So that will be our recommendation. So guys, I think we've picked up quite a few questions today. Hopefully this was helpful to you all. We do have a lot more sessions coming your way over the course of the next 15 days. You will be catching Ravi, GP, Shivku, Sazil, Jijo, me, and all other mentors, on the YouTube channel over the course of the next 2 weeks as well. And also obviously on the day of the exam. So I hope this session was helpful to you. CAT day analysis comes to you, obviously on the 30th. You'll find all of us there. As you're already aware, Ravi is slot 3, I'm slot 1, GP is also slot 3. So we've got, adequate number of people in every slot. We'll come discuss every slot, get deeper into it, have a discussion with you. Hopefully this has helped abate some of the fears you have. Hopefully this has given you a little bit of an inkling of what you should be doing over the next 2 weeks, and more importantly, what you should not be doing over the next 2 weeks, as Ravi likes to point out, because that's the most important. Been a longest session for some of you all. So if you had joined us at 8:30, it's been long. For us, it's not been that long, but still Ravi is sleepy. I can see it. So let's call it a day for now. I think it was good fun. All the best to all of you all. We'll keep catching up over the next 2 weeks. But if you haven't already, one last time, it's a recommendation. Do go ahead and write this mock at external physical locations if you can. If it's not there in your city, write it online. But if it is there, my recommendation, please do it. There'll be a lot of the intangibles which you will come across on 16th rather than coming across them on the 30th. So you'll be better prepared for 30th to handle them. That's it. All the very best.
All the best, guys. Thank you, JB.
Yep. Bye-bye. Good night.